about that experiment unless
Yeah, we
you're,
did. I think we all
Yes, I
did.
extremely
did.
educated and
Yes,
Wait,
we have.
wait, hold on. So
Well, I have.
I'm not saying that you're projecting, but maybe this is a new topic to you. But I think to most informed Black people, the Tuskegee experiment has been a part of conversation
The
for a while. I'm
Tuskegee
not saying that's
experiment has
why I'm
been
not
a
vaccinated. I
part of
think
conversation
the
for a while. A
Tuskegee. I'm
bit
not saying that's
well,
why
ridiculous
I'm
to
so
not
me.
vaccinated because of that. But I think you're projecting a little bit. I don't think
well, I
that's
didn't say it was
representing.
new to me either. I mean, I mean, when in public schools now, all you hear about are certain issues like the Holocaust and slavery. And I grew up having to hear about the Tuskegee experiment, even though it was a pretty local example where it happened, because it does show some things about history. So that's why we teach it.
I
So
could
I'm not
definitely.
saying it was. I'm not. So my whole entire point is that this being used as an example, like the example why blacks are hesitant, kind of pushes out
But but it is the
out the
reason
fact that
though.
black people
That's the
are
thing.
naturally
It
My
is the
my
distrusting of.
reason.
question, my
Do you think that black people are distrusting of government generally, or just when it comes to medicine?
If
Aren't
Uh,
all people
Because
distrusting of
well, that's a
government?
good
it's not just
point.
vaccines and
yeah.
medicine. It's not
if
just
I
this
think
one thing.
Should be at
skepticism.
least.
I think
if I was black,
skepticism
I
and
would be
distrust
distrusting
are
because of that.
different. But yeah,
That
right.
would definitely stick in my crawl if I was a black person. Like I would probably be really thinking about that a lot. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are
Certain
live.
issues are. Well,
As you guys can see, we was having a nice dialogue beforehand in reference to the black hesitancy in reference to the vaccine. So it was a very nice conversation. So let's get down to it. So guys, we have a new person with us joining today. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the introduction with him. Refer to us by Grimace. And yes, I know I got emails and I also saw the complaints in the comment section. I will make sure that none of us, and I'm going to say us, gang up on Grimace. You guys, like, even though Grimace is the bad guy, you all did not like, some of y'all did not like the ganging up on him. You know what I'm saying? So I got complaints about that. So we're gonna make sure that that doesn't happen. And usually, I do my best not to make sure that happen. But I slipped up last Sunday, and I wasn't as effective as I was. But I would, do that. Make sure that doesn't happen this time. But he referred to us, someone from Twitch, GSU Gambit. How would you like to be referred to in the panel? GSU
Gambit, GSU Gambit,
Gambit.
fine
Okay.
with all three. Yeah.
I checked out his panels. He has. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but I like his delivery. He's sane. He don't say stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he's really good at his points, and so I thought this was a great referral for Grimace side and Trip's side and Phallic side. So go ahead and introduce yourself and shout out any of your links.
Yeah. So first, Tree, appreciate the offer. Even though I was referred by Grimace, I appreciate you taking him up on that. And Grimace, I appreciate you for the support. But I am GSU Gambit. Most people on Twitch have heard of me or know me in some ways. I've not interacted with as many people from YouTube, but I have some social democrat leanings. A lot of people try to say I'm conservative. I'm not. I have some conservative values for sure, but I'm mostly a sock down. I advocate for things like UBI, blah blah blah. I'm pretty sure we'll get into more in the open. But yeah, appreciate the platform. Looking forward to the discussion.
All right, and next, Grimace, go ahead and do your introductions.
Sure. Shout out to my mom for writing all those emails to you, Tree. Glad we can get some change done. Thanks, GSU, for showing up. Yeah, I'm just taking it easy. I'm more concentrating on what's going on in Afghanistan right now and how everybody's now acting like they weren't for what's happening there right now. Everybody knew this is exactly what was going to happen. Maybe they didn't think it would happen as fast as it did. But I'm really excited for this conversation. And thanks again, Tree, as always, for having me.
No problem. And
and twitter.com/outgrimace and twitch.tv/outgrimace.
Okay, great. And next we have BJ. BJ, did you enjoy your birthday last week? He wasn't here last week. And by the way, guys,
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Big Bad Jupiter is on vacay with his girlfriend, so he's not here today. So BJ will be holding it down along with Rafiq and Cats. So did you enjoy your birthday?
Yes, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Wish I could have joined you guys last time, but I'm here and I'll bring double the amount of conversation for you. So, yeah, Big Bad Bears you on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube. Gonna try to start making YouTube videos. I've been telling that to Tree for about a year now. I need
Yeah.
to make a lot more, and I haven't made one in a while, but I'm gonna make some more soon. I promise. Is what I always say. I'm very much conservative on most issues. If you want to find some interesting arguments and discussions, you can go on my social media and check that out.
Okay, and next we have Rafiq, one of our loved guests here in the red room, developing pictures as Revenia like to says. Rafiq, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, world. My name is Rafiq. My YouTube and Instagram Twitter and Instagram handles are Jennings333. Yes, I heard about Afghanistan. I'm not surprised. You look at the history. I mean, we had Persians, Mongols, the British twice, Russia twice. I think Alexander the Great couldn't conquer it, so it was just bound to happen as the U.S. pulls out. I mean, whoever is the biggest tribal thug wins.
All right.
So.
Well, you guys made me wish I had used that as a topic, but I didn't know how it was going to develop. It was like when I came up with the questions, it was like next thing you know, they were sending 3,000. Biden was sending
the president
3,000. So I was like, okay, I don't know.
The president fled. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
The president just fled today, so it's a done deal.
Out of Kabul, yeah. He's gone out of there.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I think the gay flags are still. But I think the U.S. will come rescue the gay flags, though. I mean, everything else be darned. The weapons.
Save the rainbows.
Yes.
Hashtag LGBT Afghanistan.
and next we have Cats. Cats is the better half of Jupiter. Our Cat's gay. Cats, go ahead. We love when Cat's here. Cats, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, why, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm our Cat's gay. I am the agate in the Caget podcast with Jupiter. We have a podcast that we hold no bars bound. I can't speak right now, but yeah, we have a really spicy podcast. It's pretty much exclusively on BitChute on Jupiter's channel because YouTube keeps giving us strikes and banning us for talking about what we like to talk about. So if you want to check us out on Jupiter's channel on BitChute. That's Jupiter, Jew, not like the planet. And if you want to check out my takes as a disaffected homosexual living in California who really hates other homosexuals, check me out, rcats gay on Twitter.
All right.
Cat.
All right.
Let me interrupt. BitChute is based in the UK, and they've teamed up with Hope Not Hate to censor.
No.
Yes.
Okay, well then, yeah, you'll probably be finding us on Rumble soon. Then I don't know.
They're owned by Canadian, and it's the same person.
Check out Odyssey. Odyssey's in America.
We might. I'm not. We're just trying to find some place where where a Jew and a homosexual can complain about people without being persecuted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is this so hard?
But you know what? Do what I do. See, I prepared for this in 2016, and I got my website right when I started my channel because I knew something like this was going to come, but not to this extent. And every time I start my video, I go, "Hey, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com. I want people to go to my website, and they can go to all these other platforms second." But next we go into
a good idea.
Comrade Trip. Comrade, how are you doing there, Comrade? Love the hat there, Comrade.
Very well, just got back from Beijing. I actually wore this to trigger Jupiter, but he's not here. I got this in my time when I was in China that I did not enjoy at all. I don't know if you guys know, but it sucked.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I'm a history guy, so I was very grateful to go there and learn about it, but it really opened my eyes, and that was one of the moments I decided I am no longer a socialist, and I never will be again, was because I saw it with my own eyes. So
it's the public restrooms, right? The public
that's
restroom?
part of it. I mean, the streets of Disneyland in Shanghai were public restrooms, quite literally. I'm not kidding.
What?
So we could talk about authoritarian
Yeah.
fascist regimes another time, but anyway, yeah, I'm Trip, and I do a lot of stuff with Archer. He mainly talks about economics, and I talk a lot about like political authoritarian systems, and just rant and rave a lot. And then I argue against communists often on there, and it's fun. So check out Archer CA on Twitch. And I'm basically like a center left liberal libertarian something or other. But I think we should throw money at a lot of problems and not throw money at a lot of others, such as war. So
All
that's me.
right. Next, we have Falix. Falix, go ahead. Falix is the youngest one here and tends to be talked over a lot, but
Yeah.
we're going to get him to talk more.
Be-
Falix, go
Speaking
ahead.
of young, I start school next week. So you know what that means? Less time to complain about stuff on social media and more time complaining about the classroom environment where I have to sit there for 2.5 hours a day paying $8,000 a semester for shit I'm never gonna remember in 2 months. Love that. But I'm Falix. I'm happy to be here as always, Tree, and I'm ready for this to begin because we got some spicy ass shit to talk about. Let's be honest. I ain't gonna take up too much of the opening time. Let's go.
All right, so let's get down to it. And what we're gonna do, so let me explain the rules to everybody on my panel. We have a 2-minute opening. Okay, I will be timing it. Oh my God, did I not bring my? Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to use the computer. I usually have my cell phone with me, but apparently I left it in the kitchen because it's listening to me, so I forget to bring it with me. I thought I brought it in here, but I guess I didn't. But what it is like a 2-minute opening, okay, statement, and then we have a free form where everybody gets to interject, and talk, and it's just like a whole group thing, going at it. And then I give a warning that we're about 2 minutes into this conversation. Then we do a 2-minute closing arguments. Then in between that, we have a hypothetical, which is a fun one I have for everybody. And then after that, we go to our second and last topic. And then if we have time, which is usually not the case, but because I never go over 3 hours, it's important that we stay within 3 hours. And so if we do have time, I will do a second hypothetical, but that's usually not the case. But if we do, we'll see. Okay. So let's start off with our first topic. We're going to talk about the Texas Democrats. All right. So many of you know there was a vote on the floor for a new voter reform bill to be voted on. To basically be signed into law. It's going to pass, but the Democrats decided to stop it by breaking quorum and flying out of Texas and going to Washington, D.C. A whole lot of stuff happened during that time while they went unmasked, no social distancing, make sure they took a private jet, use taxpayers' money from the Texas of $1.5 million. And then some of them end up getting COVID anyway. And then I think, let's not forget the beer on the chartered bus. And then 2 of them had to come back because one had a family emergency because one, I think his cousin or someone very close to him has cancer, and then the other one came back, but then he left, so there was a arrest warrant put out for him, and so 4 more came back. And then, so you have still like them leaving their posts when you have special sessions, and a lot of things can't progress on. And in addition to this bill, because the Democrats have abandoned their posts. Now, some people are considered as brave. Excuse me. Some people are considered as brave, saying way to stand up for democracy and other people are saying it's cowardly because you are actually abandoning the citizens that elected you to stay and do your job. And it's like, if it's like it's a temper tantrum, in my opinion, and my biased opinion, actually, that where you just leave your post. I mean, I don't see any other political position where you can do that and it's acceptable. So the question is, do you consider the acts by Texas Democrats to be some that is, one, necessary and brave, or two, do you see this to be cowardly and dramatic? So let's start off with BJ. BJ, let's
I
do.
purposely didn't want to go first. I wanted to hear the counter argument behind this
Mhm.
because I don't understand it. But
Is
okay,
there
sorry.
one?
Okay.
I go ahead then. So
I mean,
I
go
think
ahead.
here's
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just no, I think that when you picked this topic, I was curious about how many people actually thought that they were necessarily brave for doing what they did. I think that regardless of like the procedural requirements and like the technicalities, I think that it's against that kind of spirit of voting. Right? It's like this the spirit of elected representatives. And so you have these people who left, and then I don't think the deploy ended up working. So they had to come back anyway. I think that this kind of goes to show like that politicians really care about themselves and they wanted to virtue signal. They wanted to make the story about themselves and take all the photo ops they can. This is good for politicians on both sides, but this is their example of doing so. So when they did all this, yeah, they got to go on CNN, they got to be called heroes. But at the end of the day, well, I mean, outside like the stupid procedural things like quorums and having to be there, like they subverted our system. Our system's supposed to be we elect people to pass laws, and they said, okay, no, we'll try to get around it. The fact that it didn't work, I believe, makes it even kind of stupider in my opinion. So I kind of want to hear the other side's opinion. I don't see like the whole entire Brave thing. Brave would be kind of predicated on these people like facing like actual consequences. But I think these people, the consequences they would like they're gonna probably have their base really riled up by it. And that's what they care about the most. They care about being like their social status, being called heroes amongst the people kind of close to them, and wealthier circles where politicians come from. And so I don't think that they really risk anything at all. So if you're not risking anything, I don't really think you could be a hero.
Okay, let me give some update. No, it was filibustered in the Senate, but as soon as the female senator finished her filibuster, which I think it was 16 hours, they went on and passed it in the Senate, but it's still not passed in the House of Texas, which is where the majority of the Democrats are reside. Most of the Democrats that have abandoned their posts are from the House, and House of Representative for representing a district for Texas. So that's the reason why it still has it's halfway there, but it's not quite there. Okay, Rafiq, your turn.
It's my turn. First of all, the United States was founded as a republic, not a democracy. If people stopped listening to CNN and actually read history, well, Fox News too, they would know that. Secondly, bravery has just been watered down. I mean, a man can go dress up as a woman and be as brave now in the 2000s, but wouldn't dare really do this in 1980s, where that would have really been brave. As far as this Texas thing, I think they're being very immature, throwing temper tantrums. It must be nice to be able to afford a private jet and a private chartered bus and everything. I would have had better beer. I mean, Miller Lite, that's kind of a little good, in my opinion. A little trashy, but hey, what can I say? And I salute the House Speaker, Dave Felon, whatever, for actually doing the arrest
Yeah.
warrants. He did something that the Texas governor said he would do, but did not do. So unfortunately, it can't travel across state lines to get those Democrats still in D.C., but eventually they're going to have to come to the Capitol, and this bill will pass. I think it'll just be a matter of time, and these Democrats are throwing temper tantrums in the name of American watered-down bravery. And it's just a stunt, though. They're just trying to delay the inevitable. I mean, I think the woman who filibustered for 16 hours eventually broke down. Whatever. I mean, it's just sad that the Democrats feel that they have to cheat to win, but their policies sound great on paper, but don't work in the real world, and they just can't accept that. Denial is one hell of a drug, or just a bitch. That's all I have to say.
All right. And next we have Cats. Cats, your 2 minute opening arguments.
Well, I find it really ironic that in order to protest a bill which these people believed was anti-democratic and was obstructing people's ability to vote, the only way they could do that was by refusing to vote themselves and gumming up the works the uh, of the mechanisms of democracy and the republic, which they supposedly cherish so much. I don't know, kind of like saying, like, I think this oil that you want me to change your car with is really bad, so I'm going to pour sugar in your gas tank because I hate this oil so much. Um, we can resort, and I'm sure at some point, whataboutisms will be brought up about when Republicans have done similar tricks, filibusters. Politics is a dirty game. If you can keep the other side from speaking or doing their job, then you can win through attrition. That may be a technical victory, but it's not a moral victory. And the fact that we're supposed to celebrate these people because they object to what, in my mind, is a very tepid voter integrity bill saying such simple things as, IDs and no universal mail-in ballots. Like, I mean, if you object to these things, fine, that's your prerogative. But refusing to vote as an elected official, that is you're failing at the entire purpose that you exist. And by wasting taxpayer money from your own constituents to not work, I mean, I suppose that's really virtuous on Twitter and CNN, but in the real world, we call it irresponsible, and we would call them a bunch of fucking assholes.
All right. Okay. Next, Grimace. Grimace, your turn.
Yeah. From what I looked at it's just political theater at this point, trying to get attention to an issue that people care about. Right now, the principle that they're actually standing up for in these cases are they don't like the idea of restricting people's ability to vote, which is pretty important to us as American citizens, with no good reason. Where you're just putting these restrictions in place. Well, we know disproportionately affect different people, usually Democratic voters. But even if that wasn't the case, we shouldn't be making it more difficult to vote based on nothing. So maybe we're waiting for something. You can actually get people to act if we actually have evidence like that. So as a part of their protest, they went to DC to help push that federal reform the House and the Senate have been trying to pass that is now impossible to do. Well, hasn't been able to do because of people like Joe mentioned, while the states are taking advantage, especially southern and conservative states, of this new ability to restrain voting rights for different people. There's nothing like that big of a deal by itself if it wasn't for the climate that we're in. But until we can actually show like actual voting ID, I don't see why we're making it difficult for everybody to vote. And Republicans are sort of thinking in the short term, because when we promote these ideas of needing like stricter election laws and things of this, like you're letting people go along with the big lie about the last election being a fraud in some sense. And what they really should be doing is concentrate on bringing, especially Texas, whose demographics are changing rapidly, to bring people more into your fold, make it more palpable to be a Republican in Texas instead of trying to restrain as much voting as possible in Texas. So it's a short-term burn for them. It might work out for them in the end. I don't know. They're really good at propaganda. We'll see.
All right. By the way, the For the People Act is now officially shot down. Joe Manchin did help make that happen, but Ted Cruz put the final nail in the coffin last Thursday. Okay, Gambit, your turn.
Yeah, so I think Grimace summed it up in a very good way. This is political theater. Uh, these are issues that we should care deeply about. We should oppose legislation such as this. But I think as legislators, I do think that they should do their jobs. I think we should push on the judicial system if we feel like laws that are passed are incongruent with the Texas state constitution. I think we should advocate against these things, and we should try to let voters know exactly what's happening. But it's important for them to still do their jobs in some way. I don't support the nonsense of locking people up, but that's a part of the Constitution of Texas apparently. But yeah, that's generally how I feel. But the thing that's more important to me is I want to understand maybe from any of our conservative friends on why they would support some of the things that are in this bill, because I think it's reasonable that Democrats or any Texas citizen should be against it. In this bill, like was mentioned earlier, no mail-in ballots for individuals under 65. I've seen that on one site. I'm not sure if that's actually in there because another site didn't mention it, but it seems to be lots to talk about that online. So I believe that's for it. I voted with mail-in ballots my entire voting life. So for since 2008 election, I've been doing mail-in ballots. So I don't know why these things are being demonized. We're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic where obviously people would opt to do mail-in ballots more. So it seems a bit silly to me. And it seems that the only goal could be is to reduce the amount of people that are voting. There was a ban on being able to send out unrequested requests for mail-in ballots, which is just trying to get more and more people to engage with their civic duty of voting. I have no clue why conservatives would be against that. The new voter ID requirements are specifically for only people that are either over 65 in prison, out of the country, like military, or someone who's very sick. So that ID requirement is not applied to
Okay.
everyone. It's only applied to those demographics. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We'll
Yeah.
get into more in the open.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. As a matter of fact, I'll come right back to you. When we finish the opening. Okay. So, Felix, go ahead, Felix. Your 2 minutes.
In the game of okay, in the game of politics, like they said before, it's really just about getting the attention on you. Not like if you get the attention on you and get people to pay attention to you, that's the most important thing. Like if they notice what you're doing and they don't notice what's happening as a result, it doesn't matter. Like sure, the Texas Democrats might not be doing their job, but hey, they do have basically the entire nation's eyes on them. So in a way, we've succeeded. We have given them the attention they desperately wanted. So we're all clowns in the moment right now for playing into their hand. So bravo to them. But the fact that they're not doing their job, I mean, it is a little annoying. But hey, we've been in this whole thing that I won't say because the demonetized thing is really swift on YouTube. We've been in here for what, like a pretty long time now. So I'm kind of just, I mean, I kind of expect people to not do their jobs at this point. We've basically not been doing them for 18 some months, so why start now?
All right. And last but not least, we have Trip. Trip, go ahead. Your 2 minutes now.
All right, so I would agree that this is definitely a publicity stunt, but it's a publicity stunt on both sides. So the Democrats are obviously leaving because they want the eye on them, and they can frame this however they want. They're going to frame it as a voter suppression bill, and the Republicans are going to say, "Well, we'll arrest you when you come back," and then they can frame the Democrats as being bad. I hate them both. I think they both suck, and I think they're both trying to trick everybody into believing their side. And so the Democrat side is it's like when a newspaper issues a not a retraction but a correction. Everyone's already read the headline. They've already read it's a voter suppression bill. But that's what they pushed out. That's what everybody heard about. And now they're not paying attention to the fact that, well, actually, it has to do with 24-hour polling places and voter ID. And it doesn't have to do with absentee ballots, it has to do with mail-in ballots, which I would love to talk about later. I've voted absentee my entire life, but this is the first election where people have voted mail-in ballots. There's a difference between them, and I think that
Sure.
we can get into the difference between those being basically how much input you have into getting one and how little input people had into getting a mail-in ballot. But what was I going to say? They're trying to make it. They're saying that one side saying it's more difficult to vote. One side saying, well, we're trying to make it easier to vote. And then now the Republicans are saying we're going to arrest you when you come back. It's ridiculous.
All right, so I guess we can go ahead and get this kicked off. This is the free form round. So let's go ahead and start off with GSU Gambit. So GSU Gambit, you're saying that you all agree that this is political theater. However, that your side disagrees with the stipulations within the voter reform bill. So go ahead and continue, and then you all can interject and ask questions, but let him go ahead and finish his points. I want everybody in here to finish their point first, and then you guys can interject or object and ask questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, I was just listing out some of the provisions that seem to not be useful outside of attempting to lower the amount of people that vote. But yeah, I was talking about the new ID requirements, and I also agree with Tripp that there's a difference between mail-in ballots and absentee, and maybe I was conflating those just a little bit. But yeah, the only other thing that I was going to talk about was the poll watcher enhancements for free movement. I think a lot of this is based on ideas that the previous election was stolen, which there's no verifiable, meaning that it was research accepted and prosecuted. There's no case of this in widespread public consciousness that exists. So I think a lot of the foundations of this bill are fear mongering from the Republican legislature that our democracy or our republic is under attack, and that the Democrats have now moved into a place where we're still in elections. But yeah, so I wanted to hear from our.
Sorry,
I want to know the difference between the mail-in ballot, absentee ballot. I always voted.
Oh, let me take this one. All right, so here's the difference. One, you have to actually apply for it, and then they send it to you at your address that's on file, and then you get it, you fill it out, you send it in, or you can bring it to a polling place. The other one could be. This is really weird. So the other one's just sent out to you. I did not change my address, and I got a ballot at the address that I was living at. I don't know how they knew it. Also, last week, my mom down in SoCal, who just moved, got mail from me about the new recall election. I got mail at this new house I just moved into 2 months ago here about the recall election. And my old apartment and my old house all got mail from me. I have one address on my ID, and it's my old house. I haven't changed it yet. So I need to do that before the recall.
And you didn't even
So
ask for this, though, right?
Can I jump into?
Go ahead.
No, not at all. So this is the thing. They just sent it out. And people are getting sent things. I didn't get I'm not saying I got a mail-in ballot like this week. I got information about the mail-in ballot saying that it's coming to me. Also in California now, you can print them out online and send them in.
I'm going to talk about that issue. I think I might have mentioned this on another podcast we did. But like when you talked before about the past election, I don't want to get too much into it, but there was 100,000 million% there was fraud, and everyone agrees to that. The question is, was there widespread fraud? And we have no way of ever knowing that. And so when it comes to the mail-in ballots, my friend, and this story is not unheard of. Like, we all heard these stories. This happened to my best friend. He moved from New York down to Florida. He went to vote in Florida, and went to go in Florida. They told him, oh no, wait, you already cast a ballot in New York, because someone had got his old mail was shipped to him, and then they voted with that ballot, right? So what mail-in voting does is opens the doors for fraud in ways that we can't verify. So again, I'm not trying to say the election was stolen, all that sort of thing, whatever. That's a whole different subject. But this system allows for that, and maybe you might need mail-in ballot. Maybe you might need all this, or electronic voter or something, if we're living through the Black Plague or something. But right now, especially with people being vaccinated, we should be able to go more in person, right? But even if you didn't want to, you can still. Why can't it be the case that you have to request the ballot and
By
put in all the
sign.
required IDs? We don't want everyone to just get mailed paperwork and then send it back. It should be more secure than that. And because I
Wait,
think a
what's
couple of things, and
insecure?
let's go
What's
into
insecure
the.
about that?
Yeah, I
I
think
said there should be more.
People who aren't
What's,
part of the voting
what's that?
process, people who are not politically initiated, are voting just
Wait,
because it's
but
the
I think
trendy thing to do.
y'all are
They want to do
conflating
that.
two different. Y'all are conflating two different things. There's a difference between what happened in California, which was widespread just sending of ballots, and the unsolicited send for a request for a ballot. Those two things are fundamentally
Application, yeah.
different, and I
I-
want to make sure that
Yeah,
y'all
Yeah, I
understand.
agree.
I'd like to pose
and
a
that's what we
question.
were saying. Yeah, like if you're sending in ballots, but
Okay, I see you,
sorry,
Cats.
Kat. Okay, that's good.
Go ahead, Cats.
I'd like to pose a question. So, regardless of whether there is merit or not to the perception of insecure elections, obviously it's an issue that concerns people. It doesn't particularly matter whether it happened or not. If people don't feel that the elections are secure, then I don't see what the problem is with imposing additional security within the framework of the law. That
Well,
isn't voter suppression.
wait, but
You're arguing the
No,
wrong
it is.
point.
If you're going to make it more difficult for people,
But
Based off
voting
the
shouldn't
line.
be as
when
easy
you
as
say
ordering
when you
something
say
off
people
Amazon.
don't feel like it's good, like you're literally talking about like 30% of the population like feel like
But
it was
you're
stolen
talking
because
about
it
making it
was
more difficult
implanted.
versus making it too easy. Like, is it
I
too
don't.
easy, or is it
Security is
making it
not
more difficult?
suppression.
Let's ask this question: is voting difficult? It's not
Not
at all
really.
No,
difficult.
it's not.
Yeah,
So
for
we talk about
lots
making
of
it more
people,
difficult. It's
working
like,
class people,
okay,
it is hard.
maybe it's not as easy as no. When polling places are open past certain hours, I mean, like I don't understand. If you're working 80 hours per week, yeah, that's gonna hurt everyone, not only just working
Places
class,
need to
right?
give you time
But
off to vote.
Mm, Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can all discuss, we
Yes.
can all discuss those things, but the problem is right now is that like right now like it doesn't have to be as easy as ordering something off of Amazon in order to go vote, right? If you take a little bit of initiative, that's fine, right? Because voting is easy. This whole discussion about making it harder and harder is just it's not really practical. There's not that many people who like have this gigantic period to vote and will say, oh no, I couldn't do it for just 2 week period, or however it is, for XYZ reasons. If you want to vote, it's easy to do so. You can go find a way to do it.
Wait, so you agree that we shouldn't be adding more things to block people from voting? You're on our side? Cool. Appreciate it. Yeah, I agree.
No,
I
I
never
think
said
he's-
that.
I
You're
think
saying
said-
this.
Voter ID
I
doesn't
said
block
I'm
people
talking
from
about
voting.
I'm
No, it
talking
really
about your
doesn't.
argument is that we're making things more difficult, and I said what is so difficult about this? It's very easy to vote.
Wait, you're using the context of now to defend what's happening in the
No,
legislation.
it's okay. It's always been easy to vote, not just this past election. This past election
Wait,
was
should it be
you could
easy
also
to
mail
vote?
in things.
Should it be easy
Isn't it?
for an
But
American
you're,
to
not
cast?
what I just said to you was
Wait, can
this.
you answer that question first, though?
I'm answering it to you right now. It does not have to be as easy as ordering off of Amazon, right? It could be a tiny bit of initiative on your part to go and procure ID, or even to vote in person, or even to request a ballot. That is not too difficult. Should it be easier? Not the expense of our security of the elections. Of course not.
I feel like y'all are conflating issues from different states, and I want to make sure we're talking about the Texas legislation. The ID requirements are for a certain demographic; it's not widespread across the board.
Yeah, and so what is it? I wanted to ask you with that. I didn't hear the
What
last
do you
part. You said
mean?
I'm
page
looking for it
65?
now.
No,
What is
if
that?
you,
I'm looking for the
can,
specifics now. I'm trying to because
'Cause I
it's
didn't-
yeah.
I
one thing I
understand that.
hate about Google
Yeah, if
is
you look through the
Go ahead.
One
Sorry.
thing
No,
I
go
hate
ahead.
about the Democrats is that they always try
Go
to say that black people being disenfranchised with these rules, and that just gets annoying. Period.
Black people
I haven't-
vote a higher proportion than white people did
Wait,
this past election.
who said
Black
only
people vote
black
more than any
people?
other race.
Wait,
It
R.
just sounds
Jennings, are
like
you?
it just sounds like
R. Jennings, are
That's
you
what
arguing
that's-
with somebody
every
on
time
Twitter?
I hear about these bills that supposed to
Wait,
every time it seems like when there's a complaint about some bills,
is my
like, oh, it's
audio
just
not working, or you're arguing a straw man?
Don't be disingenuous. That's a very prominent strain of argument
Wait,
on the
wait,
left
wait,
right
I
now.
can-
Is
I
that
can definitely seem like-
disenfranchises black
Dude, you
people?
implied that certain demographics are going to be disenfranchised from this bill. Let me go
Yeah,
ask, who are these
he said that.
demographics going to be disenfranchised?
You
Wait,
said that.
okay,
This year.
maybe it's hard to hear me. I'll get closer to my mic. When I talked about
No,
the
I hear you
demographics,
perfectly well.
Oh God.
I was
Ooh,
talking
specific
specifically
demographic.
about. Wait, I'm trying to answer your question, right? I was talking specifically about the new voter ID requirements, which were for something along the lines of ballots that are related to people over the age of 65, people in prison, people that are outside of the country, like military, blah, 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 or people that are super sick. The specific revision that I read in the bill was related to that demographic. So when I said the word
What about it
demographics,
though?
that's what I was talking about.
Well,
So
Well,
what
the
can you
about
please
that
military
tell,
has
though?
always
wait,
had
I want to
absentee
finish. I
ballots.
want to finish. Can you please tell me where somebody said this specifically was only going to hurt black people? Because maybe my audio is not working, but I didn't hear
No,
that.
this is the strain
No,
of
I was
argumental. Don't be
specifically
disingenuous
saying.
about it.
This
This
is
is
what
what
I'm
everyone
saying.
talks
But
about on the left.
This has
You
been
haven't
for
heard that
years.
yet,
the
They've been
too?
pushing
military,
that
the
narrative.
We
military has
talk
always
amongst
voted.
ourselves and
The
not include
military
people
has
from Twitter.
always.
Uh,
The military has
I
always
definitely
voted with absentee ballots. I mean, as far as the elderly and the sick, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't like get everybody to vote. A lot of people
Let's
don't
talk
want
about
to
the
vote. You have to
specifics
be
then.
able to take a
GSU.
test.
When you're talking about that demographic above 65, out of state, you said so. There's more strict requirements. Is that what you're saying? Like, what's the
Yeah, it was
actual?
something around how they were voting and the voter ID requirements were related to that. I'll look it up and I'll provide the
I
link for
have it
y'all
if
in
you
the
I mean,
room.
guys.
I wouldn't.
Well,
I
Yeah.
got you.
but go ahead. You guys go ahead.
The more general question that's more important to me is like, why do we need this law?
What do we
Well,
need this
it's
law?
Texas. Why does
Yeah.
Texas need that law?
Yeah.
It's their
Obviously, there was a
state.
perception that the elections were not secure by people, and that was why it was pressed through.
I
If you
So
think
fix
we're
There's-
arguing the wrong
it's the
point.
perception
Guys,
is the problem.
no, we're arguing the wrong point here. People are talking about security of the election. I don't think that's what it's about. I think what it's about is the fact that people who are not politically initiated are just getting ballots, and it's the trendy thing to do because who are the low information people, the low information voters that the
that's true. That's
Democrats
part of it.
target? Young people.
Sure.
There's a reason they want to lower the voting age to 16. Okay?
Trip is
No,
giving
they
the
Because the
don't.
secret
You're
low
talking about
information
one
people.
person.
Hold
You
on,
can't
hold
make
on.
you can't make that broad sweeping
Trip
Wait,
is
wait,
giving
wait,
this.
Grimace,
This is
hang
the
on.
secret reason behind it. He's 100% correct because when you send out more mail-in ballots than anyone can vote, you have people who aren't politically involved. They vote Democrat. So he's 100% right about that.
I
But
can't
it's
tell you
also
how
about securing
many
the
people.
election. It's
No,
also about
Okay,
that.
sure,
how do
sure.
you
But
wait? You
I
just made a
think
claim that
hold
you
on one
can't
second.
possibly justify
Let
those
let
people are
Trip
going to vote
finish. Let
Democrat.
Trip
just did
let Trip
No,
justify
finish.
it.
we know that
Let
already.
Trip finish his point. Go
I
ahead,
just
Trip.
did justify it. Which party is the party trying to get low information voters? What is the lowest information voter you could
Yeah,
get?
the
Someone
one who
hasn't been around.
supports
Hold
Trump, who's
on,
like an
man. Hold on.
entertainer.
Hold on. Someone who hasn't been around the
Yeah.
block.
I
missed
disagree.
it. It must have been a zinger because it made Tree laugh. But anyway,
I
thank you for
disagree.
throwing me off. What I
When
was
it,
saying
when it
was
goes to
there's a
mail-in
reason the
ballots, who else are they
Democrats go.
attracting with that?
Oh, there's a reason Democrats go after them. They're stupid. Do you know how many people that I've talked to that voted for Democrats just because it's trendy and because they
All
didn't want
polls
to be
say uneducated people vote for Trump in mass. There is no poll that says
I'm not talking about
Uneducated is
education.
different.
I'm talking about
It's
young
different.
people. I'm talking about
Are they
young, trendy
uneducated?
people.
Are they a part of the demographic?
Education
No
That's
doesn't
not what
matter.
I'm
problem.
talking
Low
about.
information and uneducated are two different things. Low information is
I'm-
going and watching TV all day for everything, all your news.
Yeah,
No
it's
education
also-
could be you're a plumber who goes to trade school,
Low
right?
information
Who's very,
and
who pays
low
I'm sorry.
information
Okay,
and uneducated.
fine.
Yeah.
Let's
I
back
agree.
up this
Doesn't
claim.
education
Let's
This-
back
this-
up this claim that
do
Democrats
anything.
target low information voters. While
I did already. I'm not going to do it again.
Oh,
Stop.
sorry. How do you
Okay.
justify it?
You know
I'm
what?
not going to repeat myself 3 times.
I think
I'll
that the
repeat
main
it for
issue
you.
is-
Hold on,
You-
hold on.
people
After I
talking
say,
over you.
wait, hold on, and we'll get the cats. He said there was politicians and there was people on the left that said they wanted to lower the age to 16. That's what he was, and that actually did happen. I saw the
part of it.
podcast.
Yeah.
Go ahead, cats.
I really disagree, though. I believe the main issue of this election, the Republicans in general right now are focused on election security, preventing even the possibility of fraud.
Mhm.
Because talking about low information voters or, politically unengaged, anyone who's legally entitled to vote is able to vote, whether you're stupid or not. But that's not the issue. We can't require people to be smart to vote. Otherwise, we're going to go down a whole nother dystopian
Right.
nightmare.
Maybe
The
you
issue-
misunderstood me. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry
I
to cut
believe
you
that
off.
the main issue, no problem. I believe the main issue, the main thing that Democrats and Republicans are at odds about is, like we were saying earlier, with semantics about ease and security. Republicans want to make sure that only people who are actually able to vote who are actually legally entitled to vote are able to, and that is doing so in a way that is not easy to tamper with, even in theory, even if it's not something that's being done
Why? What's
widely.
the reason?
Because they believe that there is tampering going on. Now, whether or not you can point to a specific thing, there is nothing in the Constitution, and there is no defensible principle that says that making sure that only the right people who are legally entitled to vote are doing so in a way that is secure. That's not anything else other than there's no reason to vote for the elections to be less secure, unless of course you believe that only the people that the Democrats want are somehow going to be unsecure.
There's no reason to put barriers in front of people for voting.
There is
no barriers.
If there isn't a displayed reason.
So what's a barrier, Grimace? Grimace, what would be a barrier?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go in this order. I'm gonna go in this order. We're gonna go BJ, Trip. Trip, don't get frustrated. I see you, sweetie. We're gonna go BJ, Trip, and then Rafiq. Go ahead, BJ.
I just asked a question. What is the barrier, Grimace? What is the barrier to someone voting that you're afraid of right now?
Yeah, sure. So in that bill, we're lowering the times when we can actually go to vote. Like sort of just for these voting laws in general that Republicans pass, they usually do things like restrain when and how you can vote in what.
Yeah, I'll tell you the specifics. Instead of it being 24, yeah, they're saying instead of it being 24 hours, it's from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Go ahead.
What's wrong with that? You have plenty of time between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Yeah,
there's nobody who's working that 5 days a week.
Okay, so wait, so why not just 1 and 2 o'clock?
What?
I mean, we need to come up at some point because we can have people at the polls 24/7. Ideally, we don't have to, right? I mean, why can't you do from 6 a.m. to 9? That sounds extremely reasonable.
There are people who sleep during the day. There are people who can't get away from their jobs.
No, that's 15 hours. It's a 15-hour window.
All the rules for those.
No, we're not changing all the rules for those people. We're literally making these windows smaller for no reason.
Big Bad, can I ask you a question?
No one takes 15-hour shifts.
Can I ask you a question, Big Bad?
Okay, somebody answer. Is that a barrier? 15-hour window? That's too small.
I want to get the. I want to.
Yeah, is 24 hours too big? Is that
Why
a problem?
24 hours?
I would say that's unnecessary. It's inefficient if you're having people show up at 3 a.m. when there's no poll workers.
Wait,
probably.
So what's the problem with the 24-hour?
Well, I would imagine there's administrative things that have to go on when you have
I imagine they would do it properly, right? Are you alleging that these 24-hour polling places were
maybe they don't want to pay for it? Maybe it's too fucking expensive.
Is that the reason then?
Maybe I don't know.
Wait, Grimace. Let me grill them on this.
Votes by making it shorter. Do you really think it's suppressing votes by making a 15-hour window instead of 24? Can it be a reasonable thing to say maybe it's the cost, maybe it's administrative stuff?
So, Big Bad, let me ask you a question.
And it's suppressing Democratic votes, too.
That's really disingenuous. No. He was going on about Gambit being disingenuous about these like targeting black voters, and you're like, oh well. Now the only reason that we're going to restrict voting right now is because maybe the cost is too high as a single portion of a broad sweeping bill that's being advertised to secure elections. Don't be disingenuous.
I'm posing anything more reasonable than it must be suppression of Democratic voters. Like for 24 hours.
It would be completely different if it was the other way around. They'd be complaining about it.
Why is it suppressing Democratic votes, by the way? Why is it suppressing Democratic votes?
Go ahead. Hold on. Gambit, can you hold on a second? I got to get, because we went over Rafiq. Rafiq, then Gambit, then Gambit. Okay, GSU Gambit right after Rafiq. So Rafiq, go ahead. And then Gambit go to right after Rafiq. Go ahead, Rafiq.
To me, it seems like these mail-in ballots are potential for fraud, and so I'm going to disagree against them. And who the hell is going to go vote at 3 a.m.? That's usually like booty call time. Come on now, folks. And why does everybody
people have different schedules? To be real, like people work.
I thought the issue was that they were counting the votes for days and days in the middle of the night. It's not that you can show up and vote. Wasn't that the issue, or am I mistaken?
No.
I'm sure there's lots of reasons that like these 24-hour places
you need poll watchers, you need all this stuff.
Okay.
Still gonna need that stuff.
Okay, GSU, go ahead.
Yes, and also.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rafiq.
Yeah, so it was
I'm sorry, Rafiq. Did you finish? Did you finish, Rafiq?
No,
go ahead.
I did not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. And I want to go back to the prisoners. I mean, that's okay. I want to go back to the prisoners. I mean, the 13th Amendment freed the slaves, but not those in prison. So they should not need to vote. Now, if you want to real talk, you want to return to original voters. I think the original voters of America were white men who owned property. So
What is he
they
arguing
weren't about, huh? I'm just saying some facts, okay? This is
That
some
was
stuff that was said before.
yeah.
What? All right. Anyway, I suspect that there's the potential for all the mail-in ballots, and I think the polling time of 6 to 9 a.m. is sufficient for people to vote. And
Reasonable.
I think this push to try to make everybody vote is just deployed to get, I guess, the quote-unquote low information voters, people that wouldn't vote anyway. So if people want to vote, they will go out and vote. They do not have to be coerced or forced or made make it so easy for them to vote. If people really want to vote, they'll show up and do it, and they'll get the ID to do it. Period.
Okay, GSU, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. We need to get the DNA
Yeah,
test. Sorry.
so many interesting things that I've heard. People are saying that it's too expensive to have
I said
24-hour
it's
voting.
possible.
Wait,
I think he
so
offered that as
wait,
like an aside, like a
yeah,
like a
can I
hypothetical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
because
let him
jumping out at
let,
this, it's
let
more
y'all
reasonable
let
than
him
your
talk.
stupid
can I
reason.
Yeah,
can I talk without being interrupted?
Disingenuous, by the way.
Okay,
Lying.
Yeah,
but
okay. You
let
just
him let him
holler that word every 5 seconds. Okay, cool.
go ahead, GSU.
Yeah, so yeah, he said maybe it's too expensive, and I'm addressing your hypothetical. There's nothing that compels these places to have 24-hour voting. So the places that don't want to have 24-hour voting don't have to. So the idea when you say it's too expensive, that doesn't mean that there should be a law sanctioned by the
We're all cringing
legislators
right now. What are
that
you
you
talking
can't
about?
have. Can I finish? Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, this whole idea of it could be too expensive is laughable. There's nothing that compels the institutions in Texas to have 24-hour voting. It's just an option if people wanted it, and this legislation blocks it. And apparently, if there's a reason for certain municipalities to decide to have 24-hour voting, then maybe that's a need of the people in that location. So it's pretty strange that you would support curtailing that for no real reason. You talked about
This tree,
people
this is a
going
waste
to
of
vote
time.
at no. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you can feel that way because you can't address anything that I'm saying because
No, it's
small
it's a
I can
brain.
point
address,
that wasn't
I can
it's
address
a
it right
point that we
now.
like don't
No,
care
no,
about, and
no,
he's
Yeah,
like said in passing.
no.
and
I
I
know,
repeat
but,
it. It's not important.
the fundamental question I ask is why do y'all support any of this? And that is the best
No,
thing that
because
y'all can come up with, and it's
we've been saying
laughable.
because
It's not my
it's a
fault
good
that
thing
you
to
can't come up with a good defense.
well,
I'm just gonna
no,
tear
we're telling
apart
you right
the
now, it's a
defense
good
that
thing
you
to
put
secure our
forth.
elections. It's a good thing to secure voting. We experimented this last election with a new form of voting we've never done before. We started doing these
Why did
drop-off
we
boxes. We
experiment
started
with that?
doing
Do you think it was
mail-in ballots,
because of the pandemic?
obviously because of coronavirus, and that's understandable why you want
Okay,
to
so
do that.
why are we making is
But now
coronavirus
we're
over? Is the
reevaluating things. And
pandemic
we see,
over?
okay, what is secure, and what's not. I mean, right now,
So
hopefully,
we have
it's a lot
evidence
better than it
that there
was a year
was
and a half
something
ago.
unsecure.
Wait. So listen,
Wait,
are you saying we need to have this because of coronavirus, and then once coronavirus is done, we can get rid of these things? Like,
No, the onus
what are you
is on
saying?
you to
Back in
provide that
California,
these
man.
things are insecure. That's the
So,
problem that we
It's
have.
happening
no,
again.
but here's the problem. If you don't, even if you don't believe, if you think that they are secure, what's the problem making it more secure, right? And I'm asking you, what are
Because
these
it puts
barriers? And you're
blocks,
telling me the time limits.
yeah.
it puts blocks in front of
Time limits
people's ability
is
to
not a
vote, which is really
barrier.
important as American
From
citizens,
six
right?
from
If
That,
time
6
that
to
limits were
9,
the
and
barriers, why would certain
you can get an
municipalities decide to put that up?
you can get an absentee ballot if you want to. If you can't make 6 a.m. to 9
Wait,
p.m., you're one of those people who work 15-hour shifts.
so
There
Big
are people
Ju,
like that, and
so
so yeah,
Big Ju,
I'm assuming. So then you can get an absentee ballot. Like,
so Big
why is
Ju,
this a
so
barrier?
yeah, can I answer this? So Big Ju, your teammate, I guess, Trip, seems to think that you're putting forth bad arguments, and when we tear him apart, he's like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that because he doesn't really care about it." So Trip,
Not
do
you
you
didn't
have
tear my
anything?
argument apart. You
No.
okay,
Trip,
I
Trip,
answered
do you
please
you.
have
keep my
anything
grimace to a
You're
substantial?
minimum, Jew.
Trip,
the cost one
can I
was an
talk?
argument.
You just
I just said,
keep
is it
talking. Drew,
possible that
you literally have talked the
GSU?
entire time and just said
I'm
nonsense.
addressing what you
Even the
just
people
said.
on your team are like, what is he saying?
Stop.
You're just
Stop.
saying
Come on.
stuff. Like
You
even
and
Trip
Grimace
is
are
like,
quite a
yo, he didn't
pair.
even mean that. He was just saying, can you just stop just talking for like a few seconds?
Okay, we're listening to you. Come on. Listening.
Okay, so
What's your
Trip,
point?
you're saying that his arguments, he doesn't really believe them or they were
No,
hypotheticals. Can you give
no,
a reason why you
No, we,
support this
no.
legislation?
No, that's not what I said. I think we're arguing the
What
wrong
exactly?
point. So I think what we should be arguing about is the semantic discussion between reinforcing or securing an election, because both parties are saying, and this is why I fucking hate them both, you guys. Both parties are saying we're trying to secure the election, and they're trying to reduce integrity and voter integrity or whatever. And I think we're arguing about the wrong thing. What's happening here is everyone sees a certain law as either taking away from or adding to voter security, but they see it for the exact same reason. It's like the reason I don't like superhero movies is the reason you probably love them, whoever likes superhero movies, right? So it's the same thing. They're looking at the same item and disagreeing about the exact same reason, but using it and framing it for the people. This is the publicity stunt they pulled. They're framing it for the people that are in their tribe to look at, and the people that are not in a tribe, that are not initiated, that just get all their news from Instagram infographics, are gonna vote Democrat. And they make it easier and easier to do that. And by framing it this way, like this is, oh, voter integrity, blah, blah, blah. And they do that, and they get these people who it's trendy. And all these rich celebrities and stuff saying to vote
These
a certain
are
way.
things
Like,
you
they don't
can't
care about
substantiate.
So Trip, wait, Trip. It sounds like you're asking the same exact question I asked earlier. I specifically said word for word, what known verifiable, meaning it was research accepted and potentially prosecuted. What things have happened in Texas that would make it reasonable to support the provisions of this bill? That's what I asked earlier. Nobody could give me an answer. When I got a hypothetical answer, you said, "Oh no, you shouldn't address his answer." I specifically asked that
I'll
question and elicited
I'll
responses
address right
that you
now.
didn't like.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
it wasn't
right
BJ.
now.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
So,
BJ, and then Trip.
like I said before, difficult. I mean, first off, there's been tons of individual cases. I'm not going to talk about individual cases that have been prosecuted, but when it comes to the system of mail-in voting, right? It's a system in which we cannot prove fraud very easily. If a ballot gets stolen and sent in, there's pretty much no way of knowing.
They do
So
signature
you're asking,
verification in Texas.
so,
That's a lie. They do signature
you're asking
verification on ballots. It's
signature
in the law.
verification. Signature verification. You think is catch every case of fraud? No,
They're
of
trying to
course
get
not.
rid of
Wait,
that.
And so,
Big Bad Bear,
so,
you agrees
so,
with me.
so,
We should
so,
test
so,
everybody's
so,
DNA, right?
when it
You
comes
said
to
that
mail-in,
joke
when it
already.
comes to
Stop
when it
that.
comes to
Okay.
mail-in ballots already, when it comes to mail-in ballots, when they're being sent, and this is a question I'm actually legitimately asking: are they being sent to registered voters or non-registered voters or both?
They're being
Because
sent to voters that have registered at some point. And wait, it's not the ballots that's being sent. It's a request for mail-in ballot that's being sent. Those are two
so,
different things.
so a second ago, I told you a story of my friend who already had his vote taken from his place in New York, and they
You
voted.
said New York.
And
We're
it went
talking
through.
about Texas. Can we talk about Texas?
But it doesn't matter what state it is. My point
Texas
is
doesn't
that,
have that. That's not in this
listen to
legislation.
me,
It does matter.
GSU, stop, calm down, calm down. I'm saying the signature verification doesn't matter. I mean, like it might help sometimes, but it's not gonna like obviously it didn't stop his case from happening. So
And if it were
what
up
I'm
to
trying
the
to tell you is that
Democrats, hold on,
Texas,
hold on.
this
And if it
this
were up to
New
the
York at a
Democrats,
different
they
time.
would get
this
rid of that
system is
too.
a system that is easy to defraud.
Can
That's
we
the
can we talk
problem.
about New York later? Can we talk about Texas today? Because
Let's
that's
talk
what
Signature
about
people
the
like
Texas
to talk
verification. It
about.
doesn't matter
Democrats that
what
left.
state. It doesn't matter what state it is.
Let's talk about the
It's
Texas
signature
Democrats that
Yeah,
left.
you're
verification.
making it seem
They had
like
their
only
way.
mail-in fraud can happen
If
only in
they had
Texas.
their
I think
way,
it happen in
they
other
would
states.
try to get rid of the signature verification too. Guaranteed. Why? Why would they want to do that?
But
They've
who here
talked
is
about
arguing
something.
that? Can you argue with us?
I'm not
And
saying
not
you're
people
arguing
from
that. I'm
Twitter?
saying this is what Democrats are doing. If the
So
question was about, is it a
can you argue with
publicity
those
stunt? Hold on.
Democrats when they're on the panel?
You know,
No,
you asked it. You
wait,
asked
these
the
are like
question
broad
about you.
sweeping
I
claims,
didn't.
Trip.
Okay,
You're just
so
saying this stuff.
You're just fear mongering, virtue signaling, saying
Democrats
nonsense.
would just
Stop
want
talking to the
everybody to
people on
vote.
Twitter.
Fear
Talk to us.
mongering.
It's the same thing Rafik said when he was like, "Yo, we're talking about going back to the original voters and all this stupid shit." Talk to us. Talk to the people on this
I
panel.
am.
Address the points that are being made by people
You've
on this
literally
panel.
been talking over me for the last 40 fucking
No, it's
seconds.
actually
Do you
been
want me to
bad
talk
you.
to you or not?
Okay,
It's
go
actually
ahead,
been bad you,
go
not
ahead,
me.
Trips. Y'all don't
Okay, so
interrupt them.
Here, now stop.
Hold on, no, Trip, no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Trip,
It's
Rafik, then
a really
BJ.
simple-
No,
it's a really
it's
simple
in
point.
this order. Trip, then Rafik, then BJ. Go ahead.
It's a really simple point. I mostly agree with you, Gambit, on like basically almost everything you said, except the question was about, is it a publicity stunt that they're pulling? Yes. And every time they do something like this, they might leave the state, or they might say, we want to repeal voter ID in this state, or we want to repeal signature verification in this state on the ballots. Those are all publicity stunts. I'm linking those and saying that they are all similar to each other. And this is only happening from one side. And then the other side likes to fearmonger. I'm not the one fear mongering. I'm saying they use it for the same exact reasons to rally their voter base. They both suck. You think I'm arguing something that I'm not.
Okay, Rafiq, and then BJ, and then GSU can respond. Go ahead, Rafiq.
I just want to say that this whole mail-in ballot thing, opening the door to fraud, is not just unique to New York or Texas. I think it happened in any state, and I think that's what the concern is. And every state has a right to address voter integrity in their state, whether people like it or not. That's all to say.
Okay, BJ, then GSU.
So, you asked me about specific instances in Texas. I quickly, I was going to say Googled DuckDuckGo, just don't use Google. I just typed in Texas voter fraud. I just typed it in, news stories, CNBC, whatever. You have Texas woman in jail. She was a permanent resident and she voted, and she later found out. You have this other person, San Antonio election fraudster, arrested for election fraud, legal voting, unlawfully possessing an official ballot. Right. So there's no system is impervious to people taking advantage of it. So in the Texas voting restrictions bill, again just pulled up from Texas Tribune, right? It could really pick out any item. We'll look at require the recording of vote counting. Right. Well, if previously they weren't being recorded, then someone could miscount. I mean, it could be an accident. It could be on purpose. Right. That is a security measure that is not at all going to suppress anything. And really, like every time you guys are talking, these are the restrictions. Obviously, that does not suppress any Democratic votes, whatever. But even when it comes to the time limit, right? You've been kind of alluding to the fact that it suppresses votes or that it makes it harder to vote. But are you saying Republicans are doing this to suppress Democratic voters? Are Democratic voters more likely to not be able to vote within a certain time period? Like, I don't understand that argument. So where's this a barrier in which it would disenfranchise people, and Republicans are doing it for partisan reasons?
Yeah, so we have evidence of the Republican Party targeting Black voters in different places for how and when they vote. That's why we're pretty skeptical whenever we see these over. What's that?
What evidence? You said you have evidence for
North Carolina. I mean, I can link it to you. The last time we talked about voting, I was pointing you towards that federal court case where the judge determined that the Republican Party purposefully voted all the ways in which Black people voted and made that illegal. If you remember, I can give you all the sources on that.
And so you think that the Republicans want to disenfranchise Black voters, and that's the way to get less Democratic votes? And so, what does that have to do with the time period again? Do Black people?
No, we're saying these when you put barriers in front of voters, it's to get people not to vote.
That barrier.
In that affect people disproportionately. Like
but why would it affect Democrats disproportionately?
Things put in where like you need like 100,000 people in a county to have a polling place. You'd see people out in like all these rural areas not being able to vote, right? And we could look at a law like that and say, hey, this seems to be disproportionately affecting Republican voters, right?
Sure, but we're talking about this law right now. I'm asking, how is this the time restriction is one thing. There's a couple of different things in there. You can point me to any of them, really. But how is this time restriction one disenfranchise Black voters or Democratic voters?
Oh, I don't know why this is specifically done. I mean, I can look that up if you want. But what I'm saying is we see an effort from the Republican Party to suppress votes.
Any provision within the bill. Like, how is it suppressing Democratic voters? Because I'll give you guys an example. Maybe if they're trying to make it hard for people in prison to vote, and people in prison more likely to vote Democrat, then yeah, maybe that's suppressing those votes. But I need an example of that because I haven't heard it from you guys yet.
So you want something specific to here and now, even though we already have example of Republicans doing it in other states at other times, right?
No, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this bill because we're arguing about this bill. How does this measure disenfranchise the voters? I was talking about how this bill is
disenfranchises people who can't get there at a certain time, right?
How many people
are those Democratic voters?
Does it matter?
I have a question.
It does matter because Republicans do this for security reasons.
Ballot. You can still get an absentee.
Okay, hold on.
Disenfranchised. They can get an absentee ballot.
Okay, hold on. Let BJ finish his point. I got distracted. I was supposed to let GSU talk. Okay, go ahead.
So my point is this: it's really easy to sum up, but I'll sum up in really 2 points.
And then GSU,
number one,
right
like
after
their
that.
overall argument. Yeah, their overall argument is that, so I've been asking for examples of a restriction that imposes something to disenfranchise minority voters or Democratic voters, whatever. And I'm getting vague generalities of making the vote harder in general. And so I'm saying, okay, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be the easiest thing in the world. It's not too difficult, right, in order to request an absentee ballot if you work from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. right? And so if the argument is just that in general, it can make it harder to vote, and it's not even targeting Democratic voters, I don't know what your argument is at all. Because
Okay.
again, we can talk about it, but
No,
it's not
no.
hard to vote.
My argument is we shouldn't be
No,
putting barriers in front of people from voting
no, stop.
without good reason.
No,
The barriers for
GSU,
security
then
reasons.
Katz, then Rafik.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what Grimace was talking about was, just for everybody to be well aware, in North Carolina or South Carolina, I think it was North Carolina, the Republicans requested voter data, and they specifically made surgically precise law changes that they requested that were going to specifically hurt that demographic of people. So what he's saying is that there's a pattern, verifiable, meaning that it was like researched and accepted, verifiable proof that this is things that Republicans can do, right?
Send them to jail.
And wait. And I'm not
Let's agree with
saying,
you.
wait. I'm not saying that that's what happened in the state of Texas, but I'm saying that's where some skepticism could be found in things that have actually happened. So
And
when
that's
I
my
wait.
thing.
But so when I asked y'all, why do you feel strong about the provisions of this bill, and you could only give me hypothetical reasons, but you can't
Hypothetical.
point to patterns that have happened in our past, widespread, then that's where it's a problem. So the thing that I am for election security, just like I think most people are, right? But the question becomes, are you introducing a barrier that would affect more people than have been voting illegally through whatever means? And that's the question. So I don't think that there's any evidence to support that our elections aren't safe and secure, right? There are always, like you said, going to be isolated, no matter what legislation we put in, there's always going to be some barrier. So why do we support these specific barriers is the question that I asked.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, so if we go barrier by barrier, because
Okay.
I've been trying to ask you which ones particular, because I just brought up a couple.
No, I
and
did.
those
I
don't seem
gave
like
you
a
all
big
of them.
deal.
Okay.
I gave you the ones
Kat,
that I
No,
have.
what-
So I went
what
through.
I-
Wait. Just
so-
to be
so the
clear
main
though.
one.
Wait. Just to be clear though, I went through
Yeah.
all of the provisions, and the 4 that I talked about, or 5 that I talked about, are specifically the ones that I have problems with. There are other
Okay,
parts of
let's
it that I didn't have a problem with, so I didn't list those.
Well, when I
Just
asked
to
you to
be
repeat
clear.
yourself about the 65-year-old, and you said you weren't sure about that, so I wasn't
No,
sure
I didn't say
exactly
I
which ones
wasn't
you're
sure.
talking about.
Wait. No, I didn't say I wasn't sure. I actually posted a link and I copied and pasted it into text chat so y'all could read it. I
Okay.
wasn't unsure
Oh.
about that in any way.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey,
Go
the
ahead,
options limited to
Katz.
voters. But hold on,
So-
wait, but the quote you posted is out of context. Says the option is limited, but meaning like if you're over 65 or you're ill, then you can request certain ballots or something,
Yes,
right?
that's
I mean,
what I was
getting out
saying.
of
No,
context.
you're saying
Oh, okay.
exactly what I said. The
Oh, okay.
new voter
I'm
ID
reading this.
requirements that are a part of this bill only apply to those demographics. That's
No,
exactly what I said. That's exactly what you read.
no. Sorry, you're wrong. I can tell because the quote you just sent us says this option, right? This is an option for 65 and older, so it's not a requirement
Yes.
for them. It's an option.
Wait, you're not
Oh,
listening.
you
You're not listening.
just
Wait.
sent that to us.
Yeah, I hate that I got to break this down to you. Okay, the voter ID requirements that are being added in the Texas legislation only applies to things that are related to the category that you read out. The option that's limited is the option to vote with that has the new voter ID requirements. If you can click the link, you can Command F and you can read it. I promise you, it's really simple.
Well, that's what I'm asking you because now you're saying that this requirement is being imposed on that group of over, like for example, over 65.
Yes.
So any rational person hearing that goes, that's probably not the case that they're making extra requirements on 65-year-olds plus. And if they did, that would hurt Republicans, not Democrats, as older people vote
Okay,
Republicans.
so and that's why I'm asking you, why do you support these provisions of the bill? Go read it. Like I don't you're asking me to explain. Wait. Now you're asking me. You're asking me the veracity. Wait. What you're asking me is the veracity of the Republicans putting this into the bill. I don't have that. I don't think it makes sense. So I'm asking you, why do you support it?
That's not what it says. That's the whole thing.
Just go read. Just click the link and read it. Then it's while Rafik and everybody else go, you can read through it, right? Just Command F for new voter ID requirement.
Go ahead, Katz. No, go ahead,
Hi.
Katz.
I needed more alcohol before I could continue this conversation because I was getting a migraine. Yeah. So I feel like one of the things that we haven't really mentioned on why states like Texas are feeling insecure about their elections. As a Californian, I can tell you exactly why. It's because any state that has a increasingly porous border with Mexico has problems with people showing up on the voter rolls that probably shouldn't be there. In California, for instance, and I can't speak to whether this is a problem in Texas, although I imagine in very blue cities or counties it probably is. Like in California, illegal immigrants can get driver's licenses. And the way that ballots are sent out to people, at least in this last election especially, was if you had a driver's license, because it doesn't say whether you're a citizen or not. These are probably good reasons why states that have borders with Mexico might be a little bit twitchier about voter security than places like, say, Wyoming or Colorado that don't share porous borders with a foreign country that has a history of smuggling people in and has a culture of people that benefit from having them in their state to work as, well, basically slave labor.
Cats, I gotta push back on you on this one a little bit because
Ooh,
I don't know how much fraud is really coming from that
Any
way.
fraud
And
is
yes,
unacceptable. And
right.
like I
I
said,
would
it's the
agree with you there,
idea
but
that it exists is why, even if it's not a widespread problem. Listen, E. coli is not a widespread problem
I
in the
see you're
United States,
I get it.
but we
But
still have
this
to make
bill
sure that we
isn't
have
going to get
rigorous
rid of
standards
like
to make
any kind
sure
of fraud,
that it
right?
doesn't
Wait,
happen very often.
Hang
but
on,
but
Kat's had a point about the driver's license. Yes, you can have an address like in Mexico and still get a California driver's license. Lots of people do it. They work on one side of the border and they live on the other side of the border. It happens all the time. If you have a driver's license that you got and you have, you're an illegal immigrant and you have an address here, then and you get sent a ballot, yeah, I'm sure that's probably happened to some people. But and I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, but it's minuscule in comparison because California's going to go blue no matter what. And
Yes,
also,
but Texas
I
is
don't
trying to
think
be
that.
turned blue.
But
also,
I don't think that voter ID laws are gonna like fix that. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna happen
Well,
whether
they
or
certainly
not.
won't
Like
make it
There's
hey
easier.
Trip,
a lot of
hey
smaller
Trip,
problems, so let's get rid of all the unknown
the
variables.
other
There's a
thing
lot
to
of unknown
add is
variables of how
that
much
you
fraud there
can't
actually
vote
is.
if you're not a part of the voter registration. So even if somebody
I
got a
have a
request for an
question.
unsolicited ballot, you can't vote if you're not registered to
I don't
vote.
know what
So
state
the
you're from, but on the back of the driver's license form in California, you just check a box and then you're automatically registered to vote in California. That's how it
I'm
works.
talking about
Automatic,
Texas.
Yeah, no,
well,
but we were
automatic
I
talking
have a
about
registration is a
California.
question.
big thing in multiple states. But by GSU, I have your bill, by the way. There's a sentence from the article you sent. Texas has strict rules outlining who can receive a paper ballot that can be filled out at home and returned in the mail or dropped off in person on election day. The option is limited to voters who are 65 and older, will be out of the country during the election, are confined to jail, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not a requirement on these people. This is saying their rule is, yeah, generally you can request a ballot if you're in these categories because you're 65 and older, and we'll mail you out one. So when I ask you for a barrier, you're talking about it's not a requirement on them; it's an option. Like I've been trying to tell you. I'm quoting from the article you sent me. I
That
control F
changes
it.
it.
Of course, that's opposite of what you said. That's why I don't know.
I don't understand how you're not understanding. I don't want to even
Well,
engage in it anymore.
my thing is this. How come these Democrats who decided to throw a temper tantrum and go out private jet and private bus couldn't explain these issues that Gambit and Grimace explaining? That I would like
No,
to
we all
know.
think we agree with you on that. We think that they should be for sure. Nobody disagrees with you here on that.
Okay, 5 more minutes on this topic, and
Okay.
then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, one thing.
Go
I
ahead,
think
go
we
ahead,
all agree
Cats.
that those people sucked. Oh no, I wasn't raising my hand. I
Oh,
was just
okay.
resting.
Okay,
Sorry. No,
Grimace,
no,
go
Oh, sure.
ahead.
No.
but
Yeah, so one of the things we heard a second ago that any fraud is enough to justify securing the election. So if that's the case, just realize we're heading towards the DNA bank to make sure that it can never possibly ever happen. But if
So
but
nobody said that.
but I agree.
Nobody said
I
that.
agree that is ridiculous.
Nobody
But
said that.
we can't use that
No,
as
but
an
nobody
excuse.
said that
if you
reasoning.
want
You're
to
strong in your
increase
argument.
barriers to people voting, you need to actually display that it's actually needed. That's
red
it.
herring.
So Grimace, here's the distinction here's the distinction you're missing. We're not saying that you need to get rid of every single case of fraud. We're saying everyone knows there is fraud. We don't know how much of it there is because of the systems
Wait, we have
they're using,
audits,
which is still
do
hard
we
to
not?
prove it.
Yes,
You
we
could
do.
do audits, and I guess we're finishing up in
And
Arizona.
we're doing audits, and
Depending
we're
on the
still
state.
not seeing widespread
Depending on the
fraud, right?
state.
But we're still passing these laws.
Well, I'm not sure what the audit entails in terms of I guess they can check out-of-state voters and stuff. I mean, I haven't seen the Arizona results yet, so I don't know. Have you?
I've seen the other states that have gone through their
Well,
audit.
they haven't done the audit. They've done the they use a different word for it because it's not. So if you want to detect the fraud there, how do you really know if someone like my friends again got their ballot stolen, someone signed it and sent it in? How would you figure that out through an audit?
I'm
You
sorry.
call that person up?
How would you do that through all like
You
voter
check their
ID
But
and
ID.
not
all the
You
different
check
things
their
that you
ID at
just
the
not
door, and if it
mailing
looks like
ballots.
them, it's
Yeah,
them.
shit.
Oh, so now
Exactly.
like all,
In
so wait,
person.
now all the voting has to be at the door? Is that what we're going
No,
No,
with?
but that is one way to do it. You
it could be
asked how to do it. I
absentee if
gave
you
you one way to
request it.
do it.
If you request no grimace, if you request it, then yeah. Because my friend didn't request that ballot. It got sent to someone else with his name on it, and then they sent it in. That
So
happens
wait,
across the
Big
country.
Jew, I
Okay, and
think
when
we
that person
That's
goes to vote and there's
wait.
like and they're doubled up
but
on voting.
what if they don't
Oh
vote
wait,
though?
Big Jew.
What if they
I
don't
think
vote? They
we
get sent to
found. Wait,
everyone
wait,
over
wait.
here.
I think Big Jew has pointed out something great, right? And I think we can all find common ground on this. There shouldn't be unsolicited ballots. Maybe an unsolicited request for a ballot is different from an unsolicited ballot. None of us here, maybe none of us, I don't at least, none of us support blanket unsolicited ballots being sent, right?
That is
Like
true.
we can agree with
Well, that's
this.
good.
If
Mostly
there was
because
a
the
law that
ballots could be
said, "Hey,
going to the
don't
wrong
send
person.
unsolicited ballots,"
And
I would
and
approve of it. I think most people in America would. But this is why
and
I
then
think
the
it's important for us to talk to each other and not like
well,
everyone
no,
else outside
but
of
then
this.
the provision you outlined is saying, yeah, we only want to send people these ballots unsolicited when they fall into certain categories, 65 and older, in prison.
No,
That's what
those
that
are
was
two
referring
different
to.
parts of this. That's two different parts of this.
It
Okay.
says
The
people receive
block
the paper
for
ballot,
Okay.
yeah,
receive it.
All right. Okay.
it's
All
two
right.
different parts.
So let's
But no,
do the
don't worry about it.
closing. We're gonna do
Oh.
the closing argument. We're gonna start with Felix. So Felix, go ahead and do your 2-minute closing arguments, and then we're gonna go into hypothetical, and then we're gonna go to the last question for the day. I mean, that last debate topic for the day. So go ahead, Felix.
I feel like I learned so much from just sitting there and listening to you all. I got so much information to intake. Like, there's so many thoughts, but one thing that I will say is that a healthy level of skepticism for just life in general really helps. And in this case, I think it's very clearly being demonstrated. So I feel like we should keep that healthy level of skepticism, but hey, it is what it is. And we all agree unsolicited ballots being sent out en masse is a bad thing. The Texas Dems running away is a bad thing. So we can agree on that, which is more than we've been able to agree on other stuff. So this is a start. Congrats.
So cute. All right, Rafiq, your turn. 2 minutes.
Well, just echoing what Felix said on the theater that was pulled by the Texas Democrats, and they will regret it. Oh, I want to ask that the arrest warrant, they won't be like arrest and thrown in prison. I think they'll be
No,
arrested
yeah,
and
take it to
taken
the
to the
Capitol.
Capitol when
Yeah,
it's time to vote it.
yeah,
When it's time to vote, not really be arrested and have
true.
be thrown in jail. So that's I wanted to add that. And everything, and it's just for them to just do the job that they're voted to do. And every state, if they feel there's been some voter fraud, they have a right to like try to rectify it. Every state has different issues, different needs. I mean, like Katsuke said, Texas shares a border with Mexico and has issues. I'm not abreast of that because I never lived in the state with shared a border with Mexico or whatnot. So every state has to do what they feel they need to be done. And if there were really legitimate issues with this bill, those Democrats who went and just gave themselves a luxury trip to DC would have articulated them and let the people decide. That's all I have to say.
All right, Trip, your turn. 2-minute closing.
All right, so the question was basically, was it a publicity stunt? And my answer is still the same. Most certainly, it was a publicity stunt. The Texas Democrats running away only prolonged the inevitable, which was the vote that was going to take place anyway. It made them look not. It made them look bad in the people who already didn't like, and in the eyes of the people who already didn't like them. But they got their headlines and they had their little, infographics all over Instagram and Twitter, and that influences the voters I was talking about earlier. We'll see if it works or not. My inkling is probably yes, but I don't know how to measure that. It's hard to quantify. But still, it's just the optics of it. Like, they won this battle, even though they did the wrong thing. Like, they broke the rules, and they kind of whipped the Republicans this time.
All right, cats.
Well, if this discussion showed us anything, it kind of highlights and reinforces maybe the reason why these douchebags from Texas decided to fly off on a state subsidized luxury vacation. Because at the end of the day, this is an issue which can only be resolved. Actually, I don't think it can be resolved. All that you really have is political theater. One side is talking about one issue, the other side is talking about another issue. Both sides talk at each other, and no one seems to be particularly interested in resolving the underlying problem. Um, I'd say that, at least in the case of the Texas bill, I feel like the Republicans are trying to do something, and the Democrats are really just trying to make sure that they get lots of likes on Twitter and a lot of young, stupid people on TikTok making dance videos about how much they love them. Um, but I don't think anything was. I mean, yes, we all agree. Pretty much everyone outside of the media class agrees that these people are, self-indulgent douchebags that aren't doing their job. But again, the issue itself remains largely just a question of numbers. If Democrats have numbers, they do whatever the fuck they want, and no one says anything about it really, except us on podcasts. And if the Republicans have numbers, they do it, and then other podcasts and TikTok videos are made talking about how they're racist and this is making it impossible for brown people to vote. And again, nothing's solved. So, yeah, I hope that the bill. You said the bill was passed, so I think that the idea was good of the bill itself, at least in theory, and I hope that both sides will stop resorting to theater and maybe start talking to each other. But I'm not too hopeful that that will actually happen.
All right. GSU Gambit, you're next.
Yeah, so I think we all agreed in our opening and probably still agree that there was definitely some publicity stunt motives in this. I do think that there's been a lot of talk in the ether around certain provisions of these and why they seem to be more on the side of suppression rather than on the side of securing the election. I think that we're in a worldwide pandemic right now, and the idea of some of the things like banning drive-through voting, and I mean, I could go back through the list, but there's a lot of things in here that seem to be attempting to curtail voting while we're in the midst of a global pandemic with new strains coming out as we speak. So it's interesting to me that the Republicans in Texas would be for this. I don't think anyone here demonstrated much outside of skepticism on why they agree with certain provisions of this that seem to just be for suppression. But yeah, I think we did find some common ground. There are some things that we now know everybody on this panel how they feel about it and they accept, and there are other things that are still contentious. But yeah, that's life.
All right. And BJ, you're next.
So Trip, going now as Big Jew, apparently, he made a very important point earlier on, kind of the secret behind all of this. And so before I mention that, let me just give an example of what I'm about to talk about. I think it was back in the 1970s, Vietnam War, when it was going to be a bunch of Vietnamese refugees coming over here to avoid getting killed in their own country. And Jerry Brown, governor at the time, California, said, nope, no Vietnamese. Vietnamese are the only Asian people who vote Republican. Democrats have always been for immigration when it comes to people who vote Democrat. But when it comes to Cubans, that's why the policy between Cuba and Haiti is different. Cubans are Republican. They don't want Cubans here. We all remember them picking up Elian Gonzalez with guns in Florida, right? And so that is the reason behind everything. So how that relates to this is that when it comes to these laws, both sides are thinking, okay, and I know you guys even agree with me. Both sides are thinking, okay, will this benefit Republicans or Democrats? Obviously, I think there's huge security concerns. But when it comes to all these systems, Democrats want to incentivize fraud and low information voters to come and help out their side. And so that is, at the end of the day, the most beneficial thing for them. I'm sure Democrats would want to secure elections if it didn't help them. But it does help them to keep them insecure and to mail out mass ballots and get everyone voting like it's, like ordering a cheeseburger. Like, oh, who do I vote for? Okay, sure. Who don't even know. And so at the end of the day, this really does come down to what's actually driving this, which is votes. Getting more votes, not necessarily the suppression and all that stuff.
All right, and Grimace.
Oh, yeah, we live in a democracy. Suffrage has been extended to everybody, no matter how it started. The mechanisms of the founding fathers they put in place we could get to the point that everybody could vote, that they could all choose their representative. Although I keep hearing this, it's not just Rafik. I hear it all the time that we live in a republic, not a democracy. But a republic is just a type of democracy. Big Bad Bear Jew said, was talking about Elian Gonzalez earlier, that I guess Democrats came and wanted to kick Elian Gonzalez out of the country by gunpoint for some odd reason. Elian Gonzalez came over this country with his mother on a raft, and his mother died, and his father was still back in Cuba. So it was up to the U.S. government, because the father wanted his child back, to get the child from the parents who were here in America and bring that child back to his father. That was Elian Gonzalez. What the basic contention we have as Democrats is we have evidence of voter suppression happening, targeting minorities and minorities that we know vote disproportionately for our own party, Democrats. We have even Trump has said to different conservative radio shows. I think it was a conservative, maybe it was Fox and Friends. He said if every American could vote, like, Republicans would never win another election. So what our problem is, when we see stuff like this, we would be for voter ID laws and things of this nature if there was evidence that they were needed. But the fact they're not needed, and we see this huge push in all of these conservative states to put more and more barriers in front of people to prevent them from voting, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just a fraction. All of these states are changing demographically. We have Georgia actually went blue last election. Texas has gotten closer and closer to be blue. They've they're
sorry,
what?
But
Texas
Georgia
almost. I think Cruz.
Go ahead.
Georgia voted for Joe Biden this time around. Texas has gotten closer and closer. Like, eventually, at some point, with all the people, especially leaving California and all the tech jobs going down to Texas, has the possibility to turn blue. And my advice to every Republican out there is to stop with this, with these laws, and when you can just appeal to these people and point out the actual bad policies going on the Democratic side, and actually appeal to Latinos coming over the border, because all of them are really conservative, to vote for your party, and you guys will start winning elections again. It'll be great. Okay. And you guys can become moderate again, and we can look back and not be completely, I don't know, baffled at what's going on over there.
Okay, you went over a little bit, but I
Republicans not moderate.
Hold on.
More moderate than they were.
I do have to ask a question. And I'm not jumping on Grimace. I just want to ask a question, so you guys don't get
Please
mad at me. Okay, so you got a good point on Elliot. There, Grimace. However, I want you to explain to me about how Joe Biden, when the Cubans were trying to escape, what's happening with them right now in Cuba, that Joe Biden made sure that the Coast Guard was to send them back and say, you can't come to America, you can't come to Florida. However, Guatemala, Honduras, people in Mexico are free to cross over the border. Okay, why are Cubans sent back? But not the South Americans, that are most known to vote Democrats. So.
Oh, you guys can hear me right now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the Cubans, when they come over here, they actually have sanctuary or something along those lines with the if they're able to actually put their foot on the ground. I'm not sure the policy's changed anything since the last time I paid attention to it, but if a Cuban gets to the U.S., they get sanctuary from the United States. When we're talking about illegal immigrants coming across the border, there are places and people who are supposed to stop them from crossing into the border. Obviously, people get through, but that's a little different from here, because the Coast Guard is supposed to be preventing anybody from entering the country without going through the proper channels, just like the Border Patrol is along the southern part of the border. But if we're talking, the only difference there is that if Cubans can actually get to land, they're not illegal immigrants. When you're talking about Honduras people and people from Mexico illegally crossing, they're still illegal immigrants.
The Haitians don't have to actually do the whole sort of wet foot, dry foot thing. If Haitians are close by,
Yeah, what the dry
then they
foot.
can come over here. Right? So it's different policy with Cubans and Haitians.
Sorry, what's the policy? Do they get the wet foot, dry foot thing too? Or
No, they
do
don't.
they get sanctuary if they come over here?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what sanctuary, but they can come on. They can come into the country if they get close. They don't have the Cubans have the ones with the wet foot, dry foot.
Sorry, no. If a Haitian comes over here, right? And they come over here illegally, and they step foot in Florida, are they protected by the U.S. government, or are they considered an illegal immigrant?
I mean, these days, I guess it'd be both protected by the government and.
That's the only difference that I'm highlighting here. Cubans who make it over here are protected by the U.S. government. Illegal immigrants are still illegal immigrants.
No, my point is that Haitians don't actually need to step foot here, but Cubans do. Again, that's the distinction in the policy.
So wait, how is that? So how does that bear out? Are you saying the Coast Guard is going around and asking like different people, like, are you Haitian? Come on through. But if you're Cuban, they're sending them back. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's exactly right, actually. Yeah, they will send Cubans back who get to the
They're
land.
supposed to send Cubans back. Are they doing the same with Haitians?
But they won't with Haitians, though. They won't with Haitians.
Oh, so the Coast Guard is letting Haitians come illegally to the United States.
Yeah, if they find a raft full of Haitians, they don't say sell your raft back over there, right? Or they don't even take them back. They'll house them here. That's the difference between Haitians and Cubans.
Well, they house them and then deport them back. Yeah, they're not going to let a whole entire boat of Haitians just illegally land on Florida, right?
Well, these days, I'm not so sure about, are they getting deported back because a lot of them, we know how it works with our court date and it takes a while. But my point is the distinction, and that when it comes to these immigration policies, they are tailored for votes, and that's why you see Vietnamese and Cubans being treated differently than other people. The whole entire Elian Gonzalez thing, that was just an example, but it was more complicated than his father dying. It was relatives versus relatives trying to get him. But my point was, I sent a picture in the chat for you guys of a guy with a gun pointing at Elian Gonzalez while he's screaming and crying. That I don't believe would happen against other people immigrating here.
Wait,
why? I don't think there would be a huge raid to get rid of illegal aliens. Well, probably not even illegal Cubans anymore. But I don't think that. I think that again, Cubans are treated differently than other immigrants. That's a fact.
Yeah, they're given sanctuary when they come onto. They're not treated as illegal immigrants when they get here.
Yeah, but my point is that they actually get here. Other people don't necessarily have to get here. The Coast Guard will go and take them.
I mean, well, they're going to bring anybody they find out who might be dying in the middle of the ocean back home to the camp, right? Or wherever they house illegal immigrants, but they deport them back.
But the difference is that you're only offered this with Cuba if you actually step foot on lands. Is my whole entire distinction there.
Yeah. So if that's not the case, they get deported back because they were taken into custody by the U.S. Coast Guard.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're talking about kind of like the 90s because now they both really wouldn't get deported back anyway. So it's kind of equal playing fields. My point was in the past, there was a distinction in the law.
Well, the Coast Guard prevents them from coming.
You're saying that Haitians get that same law now? So the Coast Guards prevent them entirely? Like they just turn them around?
I don't know about the Haitians, but I do know about the Cubans.
I'm curious as to what the claim is now.
Oh, I don't know. What? I do know. Go ahead.
Why are Mexican and Cubans being treated differently in the media? I would say that why are people that cross the Mexican border being treated like they're heroic? They're fleeing, poverty and violence, but we don't see a similar call from the left to save the Cubans that are being gunned down by their own tyrannical government
and incarcerated.
I mean, I suppose it might have something to do with the fact that. I suppose it might have something to do with the fact that Cuba is kind of an embarrassment to anyone that believes in communism or whatever flavor of that particular death cult they subscribe to. But it's just very interesting. We see a lot of photos of people being brought over and being given express treatment to come in over the border, even though most of them aren't vaccinated. And if that's such a big problem, but why is there no call to bring, to save all the Cubans? It's just very interesting because Cubans overwhelmingly vote one way, and people that come through the Mexican borders don't vote that way.
And you could also say the same thing about the right. The people on the right are also the ones being like, why isn't anybody paying attention to this? Well, it's because both sides want their voters to be here. You know, I mean, it's not a big mystery.
Oh
Okay.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like it's
No.
just like one side is
One are
based
illegal
entirely
immigrants who
on
can't vote, and one are actual people who come here and
they
get
will be-
sanctuary and can
Okay,
eventually
so-
vote.
The idea is they'll
guys,
be able to
so
vote.
check this out.
Wait,
Two
but
news
everybody
up-
agrees
so-
with Trip, right?
here's-
Does everybody
here's-
agree with Trip? We should call out hypocrisy if
On both sides.
anyone is advocating that
of
a
course.
certain group of oppressed people
Here's-
shouldn't be able to come and another group should, right?
I agree.
I think
Right.
what Trip said is
Yeah.
great, right? Everybody agrees with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Great.
let's do it more.
If I could sum up to just finish the last discussion with you real quick, because I just pulled up 2 articles. I'm gonna post them in there if you want. A month ago, the U.S. Coast Guard sends 27 Cubans found at sea back to communist islands, and then another article. This is like within the last day, and the headline: U.S. Coast Guard rescues 48 stranded Haitian migrants. So again, like the distinction would be is it sending people back versus rescuing them.
Wait, wouldn't these be two
That's
different
also
things?
framing for the news.
If I dig into these articles, is one boat about to collapse because there's like 700 people and the Coast Guard brings them back, gets their ship in order or whatever it is, and deports them back to Haiti, or are they welcomed in and then are given the same kind of treatment that a
Also,
Cuban
were they both
would be, or are they still
both
legal
from the
immigrants?
Same news source, or different papers?
No, I mean I'm looking at different ones. One, yeah. This is. I
'Cause
mean,
that's
this
just a
last.
framing thing.
Yeah, this last one is.
Can you post both of them for us?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to find them both in the
It
same
seems to
source.
me like it'd be a framing thing because everyone's got their biases, you know, and even within one organization, the people are.
So
varied
let's
as
do a
well,
quick
so-
hypothetical before we
probably
get to
move
the
on.
last topic. And I'm just okay. Let me before I do the hypothetical. You all know what death by snoo mean, right?
No.
Is that when
Really?
a girl sits on your face and you suffocate?
Really? Y'all don't know? Okay, death by
From Futurama.
death by snoo is something
Is
from
that-
Future.
come
Oh
on,
my God!
It's
I'll put a video
It's
in
for-
the thing. It's a death by snoo is where there's a land of Amazonian women. They're like 8 to 9 feet
Giant.
tall, and they're very giant. And one of the things is that when they punish men, they have sex until they die. You know, like they actually just take the men and
Oh
then
boy.
you know it's called death by
They-
snoo.
Good lord.
What a way to go!
They show the skeletons and they all have crushed pelvises.
Yeah, they
but
all
with
got
odd
crushed
smiles on
pelvics.
their faces.
It's Futurama. If you
That
go
show's
to brilliant. YouTube and you put "Death by Snoo," you'll see the actual. It's a very funny skit from Futurama.
Oh, they're,
Okay.
they're taller than 9 feet though. They're more like 12 or 15.
12,
feet
15.
tall,
They're
though,
real
those women.
big Amazonian women, right? And so that's one. So I want you to remember that. And of course, so instead of doing Marry Fuck Kill, I decided to do Death by Snoo, join OnlyFans, or send to CCP concentration camp. Okay. All right. So this one goes to BJ, Rafiq, and Katz. All right. Here we go. Between these three, you have to choose which one will be death by snoo, meaning you are killed by this person, death by snoo. You join their OnlyFans or you send them to CCP concentration camp. Okay, ready? The 3 people you have to choose to fit in each category is Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, and Lori Lightfoot.
Oh, why do you?
All
hate
right,
these
I'll
so
go.
much, Tree?
Go ahead, Rafiq.
I'll go. No, I'm going to fucking go. I used to live in New York. I was there during the whole lockdown with Como, the nursing home thing. We knew before it made the news. And, you know, he's retiring because of the sexual misconduct, and his aide is retiring. So I don't know if she was complicit in it or she was part of the Andrew Cuomo's Italian mannerisms. Who knows? But Cuomo, death by snoo. Actually, no, Cuomo, he needs to get sent to the communist camp. Lori Lightfoot,
He would like it.
yeah, he's gotten enough. Yeah, just have Lori Lightfoot get death by snoo.
What?
She would like it too.
Wait a minute, Lori
No,
Lightfoot
it's not
would like
punishment for
that.
those two.
BJ, you and I were on the same
like
wavelength there.
Well, I mean,
Gavin Newsom for sure.
he would like it, but you know, but as long as they're black Amazonian women, you know, should just die from being a dyke. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. All right,
Just
look,
about.
Okay,
What was it?
okay,
Is it
hold on.
CCP
Let me
and what
get.
else?
Hold on.
Other
Who are
person.
you sitting? Okay, so you saying Lori Lightfoot would be death by snoo snoo?
Yes. Como.
Okay,
And who's
so
the
who are
other
you sending to
option?
the concentration camp?
Okay, let me see. Como. Who was the other person now?
Gavin Newsom
Gavin
and Lori
Newsom, the
Lightfoot.
California governor.
Okay, we got for these three is
Oh,
Andrew Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, and Lori Lightfoot.
oh, Gavin Newsom. Okay, so Como concentration camp. Newsom would get the OnlyFans.
No,
You
you
probably like
have
that.
to join their OnlyFans. So you would join Gavin Newsom's OnlyFans.
Oh no.
Oh God, over Lori Lightfoot? Yes.
Really? Oh, okay. All
All
right.
right.
Okay, Cass, you go next. And then we'll say BJ for.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
it'd be the same thing.
Well, I definitely want to send Lori Lightfoot to the CCP, because that particular golem creature deserves pain, and I can't stand to look at her. Gavin Newsom, I'd send him to OnlyFans because hopefully it would be something really degrading, like a bunch of like really big people like peeing on him and then beating him up afterwards. But, Cuomo, what was the third? I guess give Cuomo death by snoo snoo, but hopefully it will be something that he finds very like. Do they have to be female? Can they be male?
No, it's female. That's the thing. Snoo snoo is Amazonian.
All right,
female.
We'll give it to Cuomo.
no.
I mean, I'm sure that death by snoo snoo, having his pelvis crushed by a woman that's like literally 4 times his size, probably would crush his male ego. So yeah, that's my order.
Okay, and BJ?
Okay, so I think Cuomo and Lightfoot would like death by snoo snoo, so I'm gonna give that to Gavin Newsom.
Mhm.
I'm gonna definitely subscribe to Cuomo's OnlyFans. He probably has a really exciting,
I'm sure he does.
really adventurous sex life. I mean, I wish I could get Hunter
Oh.
Biden's OnlyFans, but it's too expensive for me, so I got
I
to settle for Cuomo's.
I don't know.
You have
Maybe
to
we
pay
get
in.
to see Como. Maybe we get to see if Como has nipple rings.
Yeah. he's-
Oh yeah, you know he's into the freaky shit.
You know, you can't actually you can't use cash. You can't use cash to join Hunter Biden's OnlyFans. You can only pay in crack and methamphetamines.
Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to be a little harder too. And then I guess Lori Lightfoot, CCP concentration camp by default. Sorry.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, that was fun. Now for the guys, Grimace, GSU Gambit, Phalix, and Trip. Here are your death by snoo. So you have to pick one person out of this lineup to be death by snoo snoo. One of these people are the ones you would join their OnlyFans, and the other one is
When you
where
say
you
join,
meaning
You
you
have to
mean
pay
I go
for it.
hang out
you
with them, or I
pay.
just,
You're
like, give them
paying
$10
to
a month?
watch it. You're paying to be a member of their OnlyFans site.
Okay.
Yeah, you're paying
forced
money
to
to
consume
watch
the
their
content.
stuff. Yeah, you watch their content. And the next one is sent to CCP concentration camp. So here's your choice: Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump Jr., not Donald Trump Sr., Donald Trump Jr., and Kellyanne Conway.
I don't want to go first.
Can I join Donald Trump Jr.'s OnlyFans?
No!
Is that an option?
Dang.
Go ahead. Okay, we'll start with Grimace. Go ahead, Grimace.
Grimace, you're
you are muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. You guys can hear me now, though, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would send Tucker Carlson away. I would subscribe to Donald Trump Jr.'s OnlyFans and consume that content, just like we could say a lot about like Cuomo or Hunter Biden. I feel like his OnlyFans would be pretty lit, and I'd give Kellyanne Conway the death by snoo snoo.
Wow, you shocked me. I would have thought you would have put Donald Trump Jr. into the CCP.
I feel like Tucker is doing more damage at the moment, but maybe in the future. Like Tucker Carlson just seems like a very not so like the thing is I had to consider how I'd feel about his OnlyFans, and I don't think I'd like his OnlyFans. Donald Trump Jr. could probably put out some entertaining content.
You wouldn't rather see Kellyanne. You'd rather see Donald Trump Jr. and not Kellyanne Conway.
Yeah, especially with her husband. Like what? No.
Does your wife know about these preferences? Grimace?
All right, I'll go
I don't
next.
know.
All right.
All right, Tree. Hands down, I want to see that hot older lady on OnlyFans. Hands down.
Kellyanne
I can see
Conway.
that.
Are you would
Uh-oh.
join her
I can see her
OnlyFans?
with
But
a,
okay, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
on a red, white, and blue strap on.
Well, you know, whatever floats your boat, cats.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
saying that's what she would have.
yeah, definitely gonna do that, and then I would probably send Donald Trump Jr. to the CCP,
okay.
and just because like I don't really care about him very much at all, and then I would have Tucker Carlson get the snoo because I don't know, he's worked really hard. He probably deserves it.
All right. And Felix, who would you choose between Death by Snoo? You have to join their OnlyFans page and send to the CCP concentration camps.
Tucker Carlson, because there's like a 95% chance that either Kim Klacik or Tommy Lauren would also be on it with him in a video, and they got nice boobs, so it'd be fun to look at.
So you said Tucker Carlson, you would
Kellyanne
join Tucker
Conway to the
Carlson's.
Yeah.
Okay, it's OnlyFans. Okay, go ahead.
Kellyanne Conway to the
Yeah.
CCP because Donald Trump Jr. is so irrelevant that his death would literally not affect society in any meaningful way.
Agreed.
He just makes memes. That's all he does now. Just makes
All
memes.
right.
He's cute.
And last but
Oh.
not least, GSU Gambit, go ahead. Who would you send to the CCP? Who OnlyFans page would you join? And who would you send to get Death by Snoo?
Yeah, so if it's OnlyFans, I can't imagine subscribing to a man's OnlyFans. So it's definitely Kellyanne Conway's OnlyFans, unfortunately. But yeah, given the options, I have no other choice. CCP, I agree with Grimace. Tucker Carlson is doing a tremendous amount of harm to our country. So he's going to CCP, and then Donald Trump Jr. Snoo for sure.
All right. Okay.
That would be. Can they be Transformers? Can
Nope.
Snoo be Transformers?
Nope. Snoo is Amazonian women. They are they're 10,
No.
12 feet tall.
Yeah,
No.
and their pelvises weigh a ton.
Yeah, this is when Donald Trump Jr. said that we have the better Transformers than the Democrats, referring to that.
Transformers are a code word.
I wonder would he know? Would he
okay,
know
dog whistle,
personally?
if you will.
Let's not.
All right. Okay, so let's get to the
understand that.
last question. All right, the last question of what we're going to go into is the woke Olympics. And let me hold on a second. I'm going to change the okay. So Gwen Berry placed, as you all know, Gwen Berry placed 11. Costa Rican gymnast named Luciana Alvarado placed 66, and she's the one who did the fist in the air and took a knee in her gymnastics routine. And of course, the female known as the Hawk, who's a female shot put thrower, got second place, and she did a X doing the China. By the way, she got investigated. She's under investigation from that because of her doing the China's national anthem. So, but right now her mom passed away, so they stopped the investigation. But out of everybody, it looks like she's going to probably get punished because of she broke the rules. And of course, the women's soccer team won bronze. So the question is, should woke athletes be banned from participating in the Olympics? If an athlete wins any medals, gold, silver, or bronze, should they lose it if they show any disrespect to the U.S. in any kind of or any country? And the reason why I say or any country, because during the X, during the national anthem for China, they took that very offensively. So we'll start off with Cats. Cats, we'll let you go ahead and start this off with your 2-minute opening.
All right. Well, it's a tricky situation because on the one hand, I am a very strong freedom of speech advocate. That being said, the Olympics is not really a platform for speech. It's a platform for athleticism. This is what I'll say. If you're going to have a rule about no politics, no, the politics of any kind, then it has to be a force across the board. If people aren't allowed to say how much they hate China, then they can't say how much they hate America. It's not so much. I don't care if people hate America. Like, they can fuck themselves on their own time. That's whatever. Like, but the Olympics is not a platform for expressing politics of any kind, whether it be pro or anti. Well, I guess when you win, you're proud because you won, but that's relating to your performance in a designated activity. I don't believe that people in the Olympics, these are the rules that are announced well in advance, and no one is supposed to be talking about their own politics. You're supposed to be representing your country in an athletic event, which is supposed to create international unity. So, as much as I hate, let's put it this way: if you want to say whatever you want to say on on a newscast or whatever, go for it. You want to write a book talking about how much you hate America, like, you know what? That's your own thing to do. But while you're on stage, while you're competing in the event, you're representing your country, and that's the only thing you need to do. You don't need to say, like, by the way, go and like vote Democrat or vote Republican or BLM or whatever. Like, I would say the same for a MAGA person. Like, the Olympics is not where you express your politics. So I'd say, no, don't express your politics during the Olympics, no matter what they are.
All right. Next we have Rafiq. Rafiq, go ahead. Your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. Well, I think these women were stunning and brave. No, not at all. It's like we're in an era where politics has become entertainment or theater or blood sports, and sports have become political. If
Nothing
these
is what
folks
it is.
really, yes, if these folks really hated America so much, how come they couldn't just compete as those refugees and compete as a refugee division like the athletes was like some athletes from Iran did? We know Iran has problems. I mean, don't compare it to America. I mean, like their new president, their election, was selected by mullahs. He decided that women who don't wear the hijab properly should be attacked, and 2 women were ran over in a serious condition. Now, to Pete from these woke feminists about that, but they want to just go and protest how much they hate our country, but yet reap all the benefits of it. I mean, this country has had problems in the past and has problems now, but the thing is, these women were given an opportunity to compete by this country, and it was just there to represent. But they decided to put on a show, and they lost for that. It's really interesting. Has anybody heard about the 1968 Olympics with the Black Power salute?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were ostracized. They were called like not bigger, stronger, faster, but nastier, meaner, angry, and received criticism from that at the time. I mean, I understand what they were doing, but at the same time, the country gave them the chance to represent, and that could have just been talked about outside of the Olympics. Everything. It's just like now, I guess in this time, like, oh, they're brave, they're stunning, they're making a statement, and they lost badly because people are like tired of that. You don't see this from other countries, and that Hawk lady, I mean, she gets sent to CCCP. That'll be great. That's what she deserves. So, again, it's just like this concept of bravery and everything. It just has no place, and that's it.
Okay, BJ, your turn.
So I think that sports ball and athletics in general are not very important in society. They're for entertainment. The Olympics, in my view, is not to promote sports. It's not to say who's the best at certain. I know it seems that way, but I think the benefit of the Olympics is diplomacy and showing, okay, this is what all of us countries getting together and cooperating with one another to go into this competition. So of course I'd love to see America win medals, all that sort of thing. So taking it from the view of diplomacy, we send athletes out there who we hope are the best at this sport, but they're representing our country, so they need to be good representatives of our country. And we should choose to pick someone who's patriotic, but who is the 5th fastest, if the 4 faster people all hate the country and want to protest. I think it's extremely embarrassing when athletes get out there and I mean, I think was said before about politics shouldn't be brought onto the stage, but it's more than just that. Like, like when it comes to being patriotic, I don't think that's political. you need to have patriotic athletes at the Olympics. I mean, we're talking right now about someone who is going to not be patriotic, but I I think that's the bar shouldn't be like are you not patriotic? It should be, are you patriotic? We should bring people in who love the country and who are good representatives. Because at the end of the day, that's what that really means out there. There's no other country like China would or Iran or so would never allow that to happen. Not that we should get on their level, but we should never invite the people who are going to go and embarrass us. Because at the end of the day, again, the important part is representing our country. It's not jumping over a hurdle. Not that important.
All right. Okay. Grimace, your turn.
Yeah, man, my opinion has like changed a little bit during this conversation, thanks to you, Tree, and BJ. I agree. It should be a diplomatic exercise amongst the different countries. I want to say we should just allow everybody to say whatever they want, but in like a high tense situation there, where some people might be extra provocative without the correct information, and you might be unintentionally provoking or reducing or upping escalations between two countries for like not a good reason. So my thought is, one, to let it all happen, so all these athletes are displaying different political messages at different times. And if something like that, if we were to go with something like that, we're going to make sure we don't actually platform the athletes and let them get in front of a microphone and say anything really fucking dumb, because they're not there to share their political opinions, and they're there to represent their country in an athletic event. But I don't want to like censor somebody's free speech, but at the same time, kind of like the example I've shown you, Tree, in the past before, like I think it's okay for somebody to be able to ban someone for just coming into your channel and spamming the N-word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that we need to stop being such polarized idiots at the moment, but that's not something I can actually do. So I don't think we should not send our very best athletes. So, and people train for this their entire lives. We should just probably let them do whatever they want within like reasonable rules, and not put a microphone in front of them.
Okay. GSU Gambit, you're next.
Yeah, so I felt like we would have a lot of agreements on this topic, or at least that's just what I assume. We'll see as we go into the open. But yeah, I think the Olympics are part of our like world peace, and that's what we try to look at it as. So I think limiting political speech, and the IOC does it during opening and closing ceremonies, medal crowning, and like during the actual play. I think it's reasonable given the goal that the Olympic wants to achieve. I do think it's like a little bit of restriction of free speech, but I think we all understand it's for a good cause. So in the Olympics, I agree with it during those places that the IOC limits it. Now, to answer your questions directly, though, Tree, should people be banned if they do it? I don't necessarily agree. I definitely don't agree that their medals should be taken, because like a part of the Olympics is also that it's like a meritocratic competition between the people that are there. So I think they won those medals regardless of their political leanings or political expression. So I wouldn't be for taking their medals. Whether they should be banned, I kind of don't agree with it. I wish we could find them, but the Olympics doesn't even pay. So I'm pretty sure that's something I could agree with, and we'll get into it in the open.
Okay. Next is Felix. Felix, go ahead. Your turn.
So, do y'all remember, like, was it maybe a month ago, when that Shikari chick wasn't allowed to compete because she broke a rule? Wasn't one of the rules of the Olympics is you can't like display political messages or something like that? Shouldn't we follow the same principle at least? Like, the Olympics isn't an American thing. We don't have freedom of speech when we're there. It's like something the international community of humanity like decides on. There's no thing that where you can have freedom of speech. Like, I'm pretty sure if someone went up there and hailed Hitler, they would ban them on the spot. So all political messaging should be banned from it because it's not the place of the Olympics. Now, should we take away their medals? No, because they earned it. I agree with that. But it's like if an Olympian, like say on the what's it called, the award ceremony, they like display a political message. I mean, there's kind of nothing you could really do at that point because they've already performed. But if they start displaying political messages and say like the opening ceremony, yeah, you should be able to pull them from it. Like it's not the place. You know the rules of it. If you break the rules, you should get punished.
Okay.
That's
All right.
it.
And last but not least, Trip, go ahead.
I think I agree a lot with what Alex just said and Grimace, and basically everybody has pretty good points that I agree mostly with. There's something that I think we didn't take into consideration though, and that's when does your protest start or end? Like I do see that taking medals away would probably be a bad move because you earned it, like Alex said. But like, is it getting on a knee and putting up a fist is on the podium, or is it the day after the Olympics? Is it after you're off the field, when you're off the track? When does the rule breaking? When is it not rule breaking anymore? So like if they give an interview or something before the Olympics or after the Olympics, if that's political, like where are we drawing the line? I don't know. It'd have to be up to the Olympic Committee. It's not a place for free speech, but I understand if you have these rules, have them sign something. I do not care about the Olympics, really. They're great, fun to watch, I guess. I didn't watch them this year. But if you agree, I'm not going to take drugs, performance enhancing or otherwise, agree to be drug tested. I won't cheat, and I won't do political messaging. But whatever other rules are there, if you agree to it, I can understand like having your privileges at the Olympics revoked. But then, if you take someone's medal away in today's day and culture, they're just going to get more clout. It's just going to help their cause. So, I mean, look at the whole Sha'Carri. Was it Sha'Carri Johnson? Is that her last name?
Richardson.
Sorry, I knew it was something Son. And then I remember they tried to say like, oh, it was because her mom died and she was sad. It's like, I don't know. I'd never heard people smoking weed because they were sad. But at the same time, like I actually do not care if you do that. And I feel bad that her mom died. But I think that was just like a ridiculous way to try to spin it and like come up with excuses. It was just, you broke the rules. Like, I really don't care. I say let her run. But if she broke the rules and she knew it, it's the same as somebody doing a political message. And Grimace's best point, and I'll end with this, Grimace's best point was that you could start something like internationally by doing something ridiculous on stage. And I think that's probably the biggest consideration. But also, like, where does the stage end is what I'm saying we should probably maybe talk about.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the
I want to
IOC
add something.
Go ahead,
I
because
wanted
this
to
is
add
free
something
form.
on
So
the
go ahead.
Sha'Carri
Go ahead.
Richardson thing.
well,
Yeah,
first off, she wasn't banned. We should add that she wasn't
smoking
banned.
weed.
That's not
She
true.
ran?
No,
She wasn't banned.
She
She
was
was
suspended
suspended.
for a month.
Oh,
A
that's
month, but she admitted to smoking the weed though. It wasn't like, she didn't
I
like,
remember now.
try to
Thank you.
high step or everything. So some people try to, I guess the left lynch mob tried to make it sound like, oh, it was racism and yada yada. They didn't ban some unknown runner we never heard of and tried to, well, Michael Phelps did weed, but yeah, he lost his I think sponsorship. But no, she admitted it. Yeah, she smoked weed to cope with her mother's death, and
What she
that was
she
big of her.
tested
She admitted her
positive.
mistake,
And then
apologized,
she admitted
the
it.
punishment. Yeah, she tested positive.
And then she admitted it. Yeah.
So yeah, so she pretty much owned up to it.
Yeah, I like that she owned
Jump
up to
in,
it.
Go
Actually.
ahead, Kat.
I think a lot of us would be on a similar page here. Although I'll try to make us argue in a little bit. But I think that when it comes to taking away medals, that's preposterous. Like if they like a Lance Armstrong situation in which they cheated, that's one thing. But taking away a medal, it seems so petty. Like you always hear about someone getting their honorary degree taken away from them. It's like you already gave them the honorary degree. You already gave them the medal. It's already there. So that's petty. With the Sha'Carri Richardson, that girl. That's completely sucks for her because weed does not improve her athletic performance at all. So I don't even know why it is a banned substance there. But however, at the end of the day, got to follow some rules. Those are rules. If they didn't impose the rules on her, it'd be unfair to other people. Which is, I think, what Alex was saying earlier about what was it? But
Michael Phelps.
lost my train of thought. No, it was the other rule that's about political statements. Isn't that against the rules? And if you do that, then why is that not imposed, right?
Right.
Yeah, but if it's in the rules, it's in the rules, and so sucks for her. But look at the rules, not the imposing of them.
Go ahead,
I,
Katz.
I think I'm going to take a slightly different position than. So the specifics, of course, would be the kind of thing that an Olympic committee would spend the next 3,000 years refining, because that's what these committees. That's the only reason they exist, is to say exactly as far as defining like when does the stage end. But I think here's the thing, like what I believe that when you just suspend someone, depending on how egregious of what they did, it's not really enough. I'll say this, like whether it like if during like if you're accepting your medal and you chose that moment to make a political statement, I do believe you should have your medals taken away at that point, because you're misusing the platform. And I don't really care what it would be, but specifically, like if someone's getting their bronze medal or the gold medal or whatever, and they say Black Lives Matter, or they say death to Israel or free Hong Kong, that's not the moment to do something like that. And if you just suspend a person when they do that, they still have the medal. And yes, I get it. You won the medal. Like, and is it petty taking it away? Kind of, but it's also extremely petty when you use that moment in order to make your own personal politics come through. I feel like it's not like I want this to happen to anyone, but if you show that people can still be gold medal or whatever Olympic athletes after making these political grandstandings in defiance of the rules, and all they do is get suspended or maybe lose some finances. Because at the end of the day, yeah, Michael Phelps, he lost his corporate sponsorship, but didn't he still gets to keep his medals, didn't he? He's still an Olympic athlete.
Yeah,
And
that bomb thing was after
yeah,
the
so
Olympics.
so like if I guess I don't want to be the one that's saying take their medals away, but at the same time, I also am wanting to say don't be the asshole on stage raising the fist or saying death to your political opponents. That has to have some real weight behind it. Like if the Olympics are to mean anything and not just be a cheap theater for politics, then maybe they should take their medals away if depending on the egregiousness of the offense. But like specifically, if you're going at the moment of like presenting a flag or giving up a medal, I don't know. Whatever your politics are, I don't want them there, and I don't think that they can allow anyone to do it, because otherwise it becomes a quick and slippery slope.
Wow.
What's the best?
All right. So what do you guys?
I think there's a lot of agreement.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
I've never made a stunned
You
silence.
sure that like
before. It's a new
everybody
one
was
for
just
me.
like quiet after that one. Like, wow.
Tree, if we get through this one, I have a hypothetical for everybody, and it has to do with.
Yeah, it looks like we're not going to be on this one that long. So yeah, we could. But
I was just gonna say, what about that?
Well,
We might disagree on that one athlete, that one gymnast girl. We might disagree about. It's kind of a little bit off
Simone
topic.
Biles.
Oh,
Yeah, Simone Biles. There you go.
you guys want to go down this road? That's so last week.
I know it is.
Yeah,
I-
it's
I-
really
I-
up there.
I just feel like
we can still
we
go down
shouldn't
this
root
road.
against our athletes at all. Like we should definitely, and on the Olympic stage, we should be cheering for USA. Not saying-
I was
not
so
being
cheering against the
happy
soccer
when we
team
don't do
losing
well.
to Canada. I
Oh, that's
loved
true.
it.
Oh,
That was so awesome.
I
That woman
will
is
root
such
for
a
Simone
cunt.
Biles
I
when
hate
she
her.
actually competes. I'll root
Oh,
for her.
purple hair.
Yeah, I
But
fucking
no, I
hate
mean,
that
I feel
I feel
woman.
bad for the girls on the
They
team
are.
that like we're
Those
really.
girls.
I mean,
There
I feel
only a
bad
few
for
of them didn't. You know what though? Almost
all
none
those
of them
girls
stood up to that
very-
woman.
All those girls are very privileged. They have not like had to suffer any type of ism and to try to act like they're oppressed, was just stupid.
And they're not
we
even
don't
that
know their
great at what they do.
backstory just because they became Olympic athletes.
It's kind of. I mean, that's an assumption.
I'm against anyone with short hair, but especially if they hate America too. Also,
You got
does.
short hair.
He's not a woman.
I'm not a
though.
woman though. Excuse me.
Oh, I thought you said
Excuse me, sir.
anyone. Sorry,
No,
sorry.
Any woman. Any woman.
I want to clarify something, because I see there was a confusion in reference to the protesting when this women's soccer team. Okay, the the Tokyo Olympic team softened the rules in reference to protesting. They said that it can be done before the game begin, and they give you time to go ahead and do your little protesting, this, that, and the other. The reason why the gymnast was able to get away with it was because she snuck it into her routine. Now she got majorly
And
discredited
it was
for
a
that.
horrible routine too.
Yeah, she
It was a
she
terrible
wasn't really
routine.
that good. Now the reason and then of course the woman who did the hammer throw, she never placed. She said she would protest on the podium. So you can't protest on the podium. And the reason why the female shot put thrower is under investigation is because one, she protests on the podium. And you're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. That is, they had a hard line against that. Two, she did it during the China's national anthem, which they took offense to big time. So that's the reason she's the only one
I have a
being
question though.
investigated for that.
If this is in Japan, why does it matter whether it's Chinese flag or American flag?
Because the Chinese person was the one who won, and so they was playing. The Chinese woman was the one who won the gold medal, and they were playing the Chinese national anthem, and that's when the Hulk did the X in the middle of the anthem, and that's when they lost their shit.
What is the X supposed to mean?
She said that it was it's supposed to be the intersection where the oppressed people meet or something like that.
Reaching.
That's just a weird moment to do that.
I propose that we remove any conversation that involves the word intersection because almost nothing, unless it's in regard to traffic, it never goes anywhere good.
She had her moment in the sun. We'll never hear about her again. I'm over it. Some of these people, they get famous for it, and then if they strip their medals away, they get more famous for it. But
then they have nothing to show for it. They get a year or two of notoriety at most, but then they have literally nothing to show.
Or they back out and they get even more notoriety for backing out.
But again, it's only temporary.
Care about.
So someone said that they don't get paid, but well, they get a little bit of money, like I think they get like $10,000 for a gold medal or something like that. In Iran, they got like $1 million. But the thing is endorsements. I mean, look at someone like Ryan Lochte, right? Who he wasn't successful as Michael Phelps, but he's still procured all those contracts. He has his own reality show. He's an Olympic swimmer. This is like 12 years ago now.
Well, I was saying that they don't get paid by the Olympic Committee. So when we talk about what punishment, maybe a fine isn't reasonable because
it'd be hard to find if they're not getting paid.
I say that the medal, if the medal means something, then it has to mean something. And like I said, you have that medal long after you have, the infamy of whatever thing you did has gone after. And if you disgrace the medal and your country by doing what is inappropriate, what is not specifically forbidden, then no, you don't get to keep that medal. You don't. It's like, I'm saying if the medal means something, like if you don't get to keep the Purple Heart if we found out that you were actually a spy. We don't just give you a censure.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's like a false equivalency. Like you're not doing it for the medal, you're doing it for the glory, and that already happened. So taking away the medal, like you still won.
Well, that's
it was like performance.
But we're talking about punishment, though.
Sure, but there's really no punishment that's going to be able to take that away. Yeah, fine is meaningless. It's, money, great, all right, sick. But there's the fine won't really do anything. Punishment won't really do anything. Taking away the medal won't really do anything. It discourages.
Well, no, because you go
through internet age.
These people I disagree. Like if you go through all the trouble to become an Olympic athlete, you are doing that for medal. You are not doing it for internet fame. You're not doing it for sponsorships. Because if these people wanted to make money, they would not be going into the Olympics. That's not
glory,
why you do
I
it.
said earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's for glory. But then, do you send someone to their house from the Olympic Committee and say, "Here, give me your medal back," and they have to take it from them? I just don't see that happening.
Well, at the very least, let's put it this way: maybe you get to keep your medal, if you run away. But
put an asterisk next to your name in the book.
Barry Bonds' record. I'm I'm not a sports person, so straight men correct me about this, but I mean, like, when we find out that an athlete was doping, we take away his honors, don't we?
That's
Right?
because they did something to enhance their performance.
But
But
no,
it's
because they
colloquial.
dishonored,
Cat,
because they broke the rules, because they like
Cat, but
No,
specifically
I don't
broke the
think it's
spirit of
just
what they're
because they
engaged.
broke the rules. People break rules all the time, right? It's specifically because they use something to boost their performance.
cheated in the
Those things are
game. They didn't
I
cheat. They
cheated.
didn't
Well,
break the rules. They cheated in
I
the game
mean,
to gain an
Yeah.
edge.
I feel like
You
we're
know,
having a semantical difference here, and maybe
No,
that
they
wasn't the
I
did.
don't
best.
think so.
Maybe that wasn't the best example. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about the integrity of the medal, like the
I think
medal,
it
what
was
it
a good example.
represents.
Cats, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it was a good example. The Barry Bonds
yeah,
example is a good example because what Gambit and I are talking about is like there's one we're talking about things like on and off the field during the game of play. You know,
Hmm.
like one is a rule broken after when you're on the podium and you hold up an X or whatever.
But
And
you're
then
still
one
in the
is when
ceremony.
you're blood doping or you're taking performance enhancing drugs for years and years and years. And that asterisk is in the minds of all the baseball fans. We
yeah.
all know Barry Bonds cheated. We know that's not his record, but you can't take away those
mhm.
home runs because then you
And
got to change the pitching records and you got
And
it's not.
I think Kat agrees with this. Maybe you haven't found out yet, but I just asked you a simple question, right? If you found out that what Barry Bonds did, right, where he was using performance enhancement, and you find out he stole some base illegally or something, you would treat those things fundamentally different. Both of them are breaking the rules, but one of them is like you used an illegal substance to gain advantage in the sport. That's like
I
sports is supposed to be meritocratic, right? So
what
One's
what
like a
I'm
that's
procedural rule, one is
Well,
like actually
what,
affects the
what I'm ta-
performance of the
what
game
what I'm
outcome.
specifically talking about, and again, like, I really shouldn't have used a sports analogy because like I could give two fucks about sports.
But we're,
what the
we're
What I
talking about the
Olympics is sports,
Olympics.
so yeah.
for me, the Olympics is more than just sports. The Olympics is about prestige for the nation and for the athlete, what it represents. Like,
Mhm.
for what I believe there was an incident where it was a Palestinian wouldn't shake hands with the Israeli judo champion, or
Yeah.
the
They
example.
wouldn't compete. They didn't. They
Yeah.
didn't compete
Yeah.
And that was
because
an
it.
example. That wasn't a question of judo. That was a question of international, relations, of prestige.
Mm.
Like, they dishonored the event.
Should
That's
they
what
have
I.
had to compete? Do you think they should have been forced to compete?
Well, if you're not going to, at the very least,
They're
I
forced
guess no.
to.
I
Yeah,
guess
They
you can no.
weren't
Then you
forced.
can't be forced.
they
You can't be
did.
forced to compete, but but then you can't win. Like,
I
it
guess
it
that's
stains
true.
the honor of that country, and I feel like it's the same thing when an athlete chooses these moments that are meant for the glory of their country, which they're representing, and they choose to make it about themselves. They've dishonored the ceremony and their country.
I have
Oh,
something to say
Kat,
about that,
I
and
have a Kat.
that's a good
I,
point. That's a sorry, Rafiq, 1 second. So you said something really interesting about the handshaking. So that's interesting because they never got to play the match, right? I think
Mhm.
you can punish people for that disqualification immediately because that has to do with the game. But if it doesn't have to do with the game, this is where I'm like, I don't know. I
I think
understand like the political implications that Grimace was talking about earlier. I think that's one of the most important issues. But also like where does your protest end? When are you allowed to start giving interviews to the media? Are they allowed to take your medals away for that if you start talking shit about X country or whatever?
if
And
I see
like,
what's the Olympic Committee is the one that would decide this exactly. But I think for most people, what they're talking about is while you're on the field and while you're
on the
on
field,
stage, you're representing your country. I mean, again,
okay,
we can argue
we
about
can agree on
semantics,
on
but
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm really
Sorry,
talking
Rafiq.
about.
I know how we can make
I
this
want to
more
add
spicy.
that.
Oh,
I want to
never
add
mind. Go ahead.
like our cats are gay. You ever heard of Saria Bonali?
I'm not a clue.
U.S. figure skater. She's black French. She got silver for a second year. This was Olympic. I think it was like world skating champion. She lost to a
Oh,
Japanese skater. She had the silver. So frustrated, she took off her medal right in front of the ceremony. She got booze. You think that
oh, yeah.
her medal should be removed?
I
Is that a
don't
political
know.
statement?
No, I mean, like, to me, that's not a.
Well,
Again, like, now we're getting that's a less cut and dry situation. I feel, because I mean that's a question of the athlete showing incredible discourtesy. At that moment, that would be something where I feel like something like censure is meant for. But she's not dishonoring. May again, we're getting into
Well,
very
no, it's more
particular areas here. Like,
frustration
What
and being
what
placed in second with the judges. So go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it could have been for any reason that you take off the medal. Like, what if you were in China and you're like, I hate this country because they do all these terrible things all over the world and into their own people. I'm taking off the medal on the podium. Is that because that could be a
if-
political thing, or it was I was pissed off I didn't get first, so I
Yeah.
took off my silver
If-
medal. It could
I'd say
be the same
if we
action for two different reasons.
if you can prove that she took it off because she was
you
saying
can't.
like fuck
It's
it,
subjective.
well, no, that's what I'm saying. Well, like if
Yeah.
she, but if it's in that case, you have to just assume that she's just frustrated. But if she threw off her medal and say, fuck Japan,
Yeah.
well then yes,
Mhm.
like take her medal.
So I can make
Okay.
this a little more spicy since I think we all agree. When we look at the backdrop of some of this and we look at American sports, then I think it's silly when people make the claim that, like people shouldn't make political messages and I just want to watch my football and all of that type of conversation. I think that's really, really silly.
You mean
So I
like
think the
when,
world, like Colin Kaepernick, or
like,
something
is
like
he
that.
allowed to have political opinions? He should just shut up and play football type of thing, or he
Yeah,
shouldn't do it on the
exactly.
field? Which one do you
Yeah,
mean?
both.
They have the freedom to unless they're restricted by their owners and the bosses. But I think the problem is that the bosses should insist that they don't because
Yeah.
sports is supposed to be a unifying thing.
Yeah.
And by injecting politics into things, it disrupts it. And that's why sports is getting more and more polarized. We don't need politics in every aspect of life. Right? Not everything should be a debate and a political discussion. Sometimes people want to. Some people don't want anything to do with the political
And
process. And that's
let
okay
me,
too.
let me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the question. Since if it's okay to take a knee to protest, how come it's not okay to take a knee in prayer outside of the field?
Because of the implications behind this goes back to taking your medal off because you hate the country you won it in, or taking it off because you're pissed you didn't get gold. It's the same action for different reasons, and it's going to end up being subjective, So, but
They stopped him.
BJ,
You're referring to them stopping Tim Tebow? Is that what you're talking about? When they stopped him from doing that? Is that what happened? When Tim Tebow wanted to
No,
pray
there
on the
was
field?
I mean, we
there's
can, we can talk
Yeah,
about
there's
specific
a
examples and stuff, but
go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, there was a issue with it wasn't even Tim Tebow. What was this issue? I think he was a coach or something. He would
Yeah, it
just
was
pray,
a high
do a
school
prayer
high school
before to
coach
start
would
the
just
game.
kneel and
Oh
pray
yeah,
on the sidelines, not even during the
Yeah.
game. He would just pray on the sidelines to himself. And some he didn't ask them, but some of the football team will come and surround him and pray with him. He didn't ask them to pray with him, and now he's about to go to Supreme Court because he was fired because somebody complained about him kneeling and praying on the sidelines. And basically, this is a violation of his First Amendment, and it's going to the Supreme Court. So we see where kneeling is acceptable in protesting. And let's be honest, I mean, you guys know Colin Kaepernick
Wait,
knew
there's
he.
a big difference there, right?
No,
Sorry,
I mean,
sorry, Tree. He's being employed by the government right there. He's not supposed to be sending out religious messages.
no, you cannot.
was it in his contract?
No, you can send religious messages, but yeah, you can't recruit other people to do it with you. But that's the
Yeah,
argument.
you
wasn't
don't
he was
Nate,
doing it
by
himself.
law you cannot stop somebody from praying if
Yeah, you
they
can wear a cross to
yeah.
it's a religious message.
Yeah, so no,
Cross do
that was actually a violation of his First Amendment. So he did not say, come, everybody on the football team, come pray with me. Once the team won, as soon as they won, he would just get on his knees on the sideline. I gotta put emphasis on it. On the sideline and just pray to himself. And then of course the guys will see him do it and they will run and they will huddle around their coach and pray with him.
The weird part
Tree-
about
We
that
used
is
to
that I don't know
pray
if you guys ever played
openly.
for sports teams, but they're like that's a very common thing to do. I played basketball when I was in high school,
Yeah,
and
we prayed
we always
before
prayed
and
before
after
games.
every game.
When they hit a home run,
Yeah, it's a very
it's
common
like,
thing.
but at the same time, like I think that might be a different situation than what we were talking about earlier, because if you have oh God, I lost my train of thought now. Sorry, someone else go. I'll remember it.
But let's be
I was
honest,
just gonna
Colin
echo
Kaepernick.
what Big
Sorry,
G
go ahead,
said.
Gammon.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I say let's
I was
be.
just agreeing with Big G. We used to pray on and off the field all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Colin
So it's a very
Kaepernick
common
only
thing.
took
Weird
a
that he
knee
got caught
because
for
he
it.
knew he was about to get traded. It was not because he gave a shit about Black Lives Matter.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say.
Disagree with that.
So it's kind of like how companies can say you have to do this certain thing to work here. Like we're gonna have all our employees vaccinated, or all our employees are gonna wear masks. And that's in your contract. If it's in it, you signed it, whatever, then they can do that. But it's the same sort of thing. Like if there's something in your contract that says no political statements while you play for the 49ers, then I guess they can fire you. But if there's nothing in there, they can probably still fire you if they tell you, like, we don't like this. It's bad for our brand.
No, they
can
cannot.
You please stop doing
They
this? I can
no.
understand.
You cannot.
What I'm saying is there'd be like a question.
No,
I'm
if
saying
it,
there'd be a question.
well,
Like, it would
one
go
is
to
not
court.
in his contract, and two, you cannot say you can't pray. I mean, it's easy. It's easy.
That's not what I'm. That's not. I said political messaging. Like I'm not talking
So
about.
all the
okay, I'm sorry.
contracts will
All
say
right.
terminated. Like you can only be terminated for cause. Is probably what all the contracts would say
Yeah.
on them. Because
I
that's
mean, it's
what
hard to
the
fire
unions would
somebody,
negotiate
but
for them.
I get it. I don't think he should be. I don't know much about
And
football.
Gambit,
But, I just think
am
the
I
political
lying?
messaging, like, there is a place it ends and
Kaepernick?
starts.
Was Kaepernick a second string or a first string quarterback when he
No,
decided
he's
to
the main
take it?
guy, I think.
I'm gonna
I think
He
at
need.
the time
was.
he was
I
their main
think he
guy.
was.
No, he was a
I think he
second
was
string.
becoming
new main
second
guy.
string or something. But I don't think that means that he didn't care. I mean, we can look at his life after all of this has went down. He still donates
No. Don't
tremendous
look.
amounts of money to
Don't
the
look
causes he
after.
believes in.
Don't
Oh,
look after. Let's look before. This is the best part I love about talking about this Kaepernick. Kaepernick was a fucking square ass bitch motherfucker who just talked about his turtle. He had a punk. When I say punk, I'm talking about like a square type of haircut. And all of a sudden, he wants to grow an afro and get revolutionized. I mean, when you look at his Twitter before he decided to take a knee and versus after, he was so boring. He talked about mundane stuff that nobody cared about.
Well,
Like his
but see,
turtle.
people can
He
say
talked
that
about his
people can say
turtle.
that about me and you, though, right? At some
one
point,
of
we
the
weren't like as politically
Oh
involved,
my
and
God.
now we are. Right?
I've been
yeah.
spicy ever since I've been Tree of Logic, though. I mean,
Well,
But
I
I think
haven't
the
though.
issue is
Like
this: is that
this is
the social justice movements, like they're so lucrative, and that's why our suspicion comes in, is because they're so lucrative that
Very good
he
point.
knows, and we know that if he goes and he does that, then he can get sponsorship deals, he can do this, he can be a celebrity, right? And so the problem is, like, does he care, does he not care? We'll never really fully know because money colors everything, and there's a lot of money behind these movements right now, and it'd be in favor of it. And we're not going to know who is not in favor of it because those guys don't want to speak out because they have no financial incentive to say, I don't support this movement over here. So the only ones that do it are the very guys who are super retired.
You can be pretty sure that the people who aren't talking about it are the ones that feel just the opposite of the ones who are the most vocal. I think that's like a Jerry Seinfeld quote, actually.
I always tell people if someone never says that they're a Democrat, that means they're a Republican. Have you never heard them mention that? You ever see any sort of social justice?
I don't pay
They must be a
attention to
Republican. They're
politics.
hiding it.
Hey,
Or they don't pay attention. You're right. You're right. You're right.
But that's also what they say though. It's like, oh, do you support this because you haven't said anything? Like the whole remember white
silence is
Remember when that was a
Oh
thing?
God,
Like yeah,
violence. Silence is
violence, all
violence.
this thing. But remember that. So it's like if you don't say anything, like why aren't you saying anything? Oh, I'm not politically active. Like maybe
That's just white supremacy,
that's
dog
true.
whistle.
If you guys watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I follow them on social media, and all of them are very liberal, and they'll post It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, to the cast of that show. It's Always Sunny, and they all post liberal things all over their Instagrams and all that, except for one person, Charlie. All he does is post regular pictures, and so us conservatives we go, he's one of us. That's why he's one of us. That's our attitude is actually.
Well, back in the day, like doing the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding days, when an athlete took a knee, they really took a knee.
It's because they.
I don't know if
that's a bad joke.
She totally didn't do it
Okay,
though.
that's a bad.
That's a good
Okay,
joke.
all right. Okay, so we go ahead and wrap this one up. Did you have the hypothetical? Did anybody want to do closing, or we just because we can also end this a little earlier than usual? This was pretty good, but go ahead. What's your hypothetical Trip?
So I don't know if it's exactly a hypothetical, but just a matter of taste. I went to film school. I love movies a lot. What is the best Olympic movie? Is it Cool Runnings? We got Munich. There's Miracle. There's a lot of movies out there, Olympic movies. Why is it the best movie or your favorite Olympic movie? And yeah.
Cool
I'll
Runnings.
go first. I've never seen one.
Really?
Never seen one?
No, I said I've never seen. No, I don't think so.
Then you need to go watch Cool Runnings. You need to go watch Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings about the Jamaican bobsled team.
Damn, that movie's amazing.
That was so
Did,
good.
Air
Based on a
Just
true story.
laugh.
Yeah, that's based
Did
on a
Airbud
true
the
story.
Olympics or
Yeah.
is it just high school basketball?
I don't know.
I went to
It
film
is based on a
school
true story.
too.
I saw.
Oh,
I, Tanya, Race, Unbroken. Oh, Icarus was
That's not
kind of about it. That's about the blood doping. I think that won an
it's a
Oscar.
documentary. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
I
other
thought it was
films I
good.
haven't seen. The other films I haven't seen, but I've seen Cool Runnings. It's based on a true story. I remember that day watching Olympics. Like they're black on the
Yeah, I
box.
was like bobsled team for
They
Jamaica, but it was
still-
really
they still
good.
got
It
a
was
team.
really
They
good.
still make it
That's why
every
it's a
year,
good
but
movie.
Yeah.
great film.
Yeah, I
So,
highly
yeah,
suggest
I
that
went.
one.
Wait.
I
Did they get banned from the Olympics too? Isn't that like they got something happened with them? They couldn't be on the track team because they had some violation or something.
it's probably
I don't
marijuana.
know. In the
Full,
movie, like
full
they
runnings,
fell or
right?
It was probably
something.
I
marijuana.
don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't
Uh,
remember.
They
I think
made
it
a
ties
bunch
back to the
of
previous
stories.
topic.
They made a bunch
Yeah.
of sprinters into bobsled pushers
Yeah.
because they
So
wanted fast people to do it.
I have always avoided sports movies. I have never particularly cared about them. The only sports movie I ever particularly liked was Any Given Sunday, but that probably has more to do with the fact that it was an Oliver Stone movie, and he can make even going to the bathroom seem epic and interesting. Um, Sports movies to me are usually extremely tedious because they're just a series of montages of training and people like having their inspiring stories. But I'm also, I think I'm pretty sure I'm the only gay one here, so I'm not
Yeah, why do
really.
you think I
What?
wanted to ask you about that. There's several gay people who indulge in sports. Why do you seem
I
to
just
think there's some
I've never
relationship?
I've never cared for sports. I mean, you can blame it on the way I was raised or whatever. Like,
I don't care for
But
sports either,
I don't
but I'm
think it
not
has
gay.
anything to do with your sexuality though, right?
well, let's put this. I'm older than some of you. Like when I was a younger gay, it was not a particularly. When I was a younger gay, we at the gay bar we'd be watching the Golden Girls. Now they watch football and stuff like that. But this is a new
It might be
thing. But
because like sports is a form of male bonding, and
mhm.
gay men can bond in other ways.
Yeah,
That's easy.
They
we're
want to watch a
more.
bunch of hot, sweaty guys
I mean,
tackling
like,
each other.
like it's funny because I had a friend who asked me if I liked UFC or not UFC, if I liked like wrestling, and he said like it's a bunch of dudes in spandex. Don't you like it? I'm like, I mean, if I want to see a bunch of dudes like grappling with each other, I can just watch porn. It's more
You
efficient.
check out Cuomo's OnlyFans.
Oh God, I'm gonna go drink bleach
All
now.
right. So we're gonna close up early. So we're gonna do your. I want you guys to do your. We're gonna do two things. Your final statement, and then
Summation.
shout yourself out and give your links to everything. And I thoroughly enjoyed this panel. GSU, you're a good addition. I mean, the reason why
Yeah,
I
man.
say you are is because when you make people mad in the chat, I'm like, okay. And notice nobody got mad at Grimace this time. So
Yeah.
yay, Grimace!
See, no one piled up on Grimace this time because I want you to know that you embraced equity in this debate, and you said that you were going to make sure that we weren't going to pile up on Grimace, and you were going to actually enforce the fairness. So I want
you
you
gave
to
your
know
voice to a black voice.
that equity, yeah, equity at work, everybody.
Nah, I hated getting those emails. It was like, I mean, people they like to shit on Grimace, but they don't like seeing Grimace dog piled on. You know what I'm saying? They're like, he's a libtard, but I don't think when y'all jump on him is fair. I don't like that tree. You need to stop that. And I was like, so I was like, that made me feel bad. So I was like, okay. So I made sure, and basically nobody really, got on him this time. So there you have it. So anyway, so
It was
let's.
reasonable this time.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding, Grimace.
so actually let's start off with Grimace. Grimace, go ahead and do your final thoughts and then shout out yourself today. Shout out where we can find you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, as far as athletes in the Olympics, I just want us to be able to root for our country and understand that athletes have opinions. A lot of those opinions can be dumb, and it's an American, I guess, principle to support that as according to their First Amendment. But at the same time, we're on a diplomatic stage, like Big Bad Bear Jew said. I don't think there's like an easy answer there because like at one point, I just want to say, well, let everybody do everything. And then another point, I'm like, well, if everybody does everything, we can get a lot of bad outcomes because of that. And then the Olympics one become a shit show and all sorts of stuff like that. My favorite Olympics movie is probably Cool Runnings. That's my ancestors come there before they came from different places. But yeah, you can find me on twitter.com/Grimace. You can check me out on YouTube. You just probably have to Google my name and just follow me on all the different platforms. I would appreciate it so we can feeler rhyme. Get on up, it's bobsled time, right?
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, next we have
I'm so happy we
BJ,
took this question.
Big Bad Bear Jew. Next, you're next.
Big bass
Big
bears,
Jew.
So I learned how to switch my title, so I was very excited about that. I was trying to do it
Oh,
the whole
cool.
time. So we're
Okay.
talking. But on social media, please find me Big Bad Bear too, Instagram, YouTube. To finish up the discussion from our the last topic, I think that generally political speech, while we should value it and we should let people express themselves, I don't think it really has a place in sports in general. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, or I'll put it this way, not saying you can't do it. I am saying you probably shouldn't do it. Sports is one of the last refuges of people being able to bond together without having politics get in the way. When politics get in the way of everything, you have fractured societies, fractured families. And if you have strong political opinions, then you probably are a person who also has trouble communicating with certain friends or family members because of it. Because when you have someone very passionate on one side, very passionate on the other side, it tends to be really hard to reconcile. And if you could reconcile it, good for you. But no one wants to go through all these exercises while playing sports or watching sports. And the Olympics just takes it to the next level because of the fact that you should be patriotic because you're representing your country.
All right. And next, we have GSU Gambit. Thank you again for coming by. We're definitely going to have you come back again if you are open to do so. So be sure to give out your final thoughts and make sure you shout out your channels and social media platforms.
Cool. As I said at the beginning, Tree, I appreciate it. Grimace, I appreciate the recommendation as well. This has been fun for me, so as long as you'll have me back, I'll definitely be back. But to close on the Olympic topic, I think all of us have laid out a lot of good reasons why on an international stage things could end up disastrous if there were political messages. Like I'm just imagining somebody saying free Taiwan or something. Like it could definitely start things like wars and things outside of the Olympics. So I agree with that. On a more national stage where we talk about sports, I think the ability for people to ignore issues that don't directly affect them is great. So on a national scale, if we're talking like our professional sports, just inside the US, I'm generally okay with people making political statements for that reason. I think it's like a form of outreach somewhat. But just like I tell everybody, like when you watch television, you'll see this whole meme that our world is fractured and nobody gets along. But hopefully, the people who are able to tune into this see that, yeah, sometimes people on different sides of the political spectrum disagree, but there are things that we can agree on. So, my goal in conversations is always to find ways that we do agree when we don't agree, trying to figure out exactly how we look at these things differently. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this conversation went, and hopefully everyone else is too. I am GSU Gambit. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter at GSU Gambit. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. And next we have Rafiq. Rafiq, give your final thoughts as well as links to your where people can find you on social media.
Okay. Again, the thing with this whole woke Olympics, my thing is if they really hated America, they would have be left and competed as refugees. Otherwise, it was just virtue signaling and whatnot. And I hope that our Katsuge actually learn a little more about sports during this discussion and everything. It's great that we kind of all have a common consensus about this woke athlete thing. I guess maybe I don't know, the conversation could have been shifted to the woman who had too much testosterone and was forced to not compete, while New Zealand's transformer was able to compete. Or
Hmm.
maybe how I was really pissed off at the political right for dogpiling on Simone Biles when she withdrew from a game citing mental health. Just like they didn't know the history, what she's been through, history, what she's been through, and everything. But I guess another time and whatnot. But I am semi-active on social media. RJennings333 is my handle on both Instagram and on Twitter. And Tree, thanks again for having me.
Of course, always welcome to come.
Oh,
And Felix, next,
yeah.
your final thoughts and where people can find you.
First of all, it's at Alex1 or 11 on Instagram and Twitter for both those. I don't have a Twitch. Hopefully, actually, I don't have a Twitch.
Well, are you
But
still participating in
Olympics, we have
Archer's?
rules in place for.
Are you still participating in Archer's thing?
Yeah, I talk to him
Okay.
sometimes. He got mad. So okay, I talked to Archer one time, and I said women should be allowed to kill their babies, and he said that's too spicy of a take, and I'm like, but it's not. Y'all just want to sugarcoat it and say that you're for the woman's body when you're not. Just say you're for killing babies. Like, be honest with us. Come on. But he's that I said that on a stream, and it's been a little awkward since then. But with the Olympics, we have the rules. They're in place for a reason. If we didn't have them, you'd have people screaming like you'd have people screaming like free Taiwan or like death to Israel, and then we'd be literally in World War III like right now as we speak because of it. So we need these rules for a reason. If you don't want to get punished for them, don't break them. Simple as that. As always, it's an honor and a privilege, and thanks for having me.
All right. Next, we have Cats. Cats, give your final thoughts as well as where they can find you.
Well, whether it be the Olympics or national sports, I think.
Wait. Hold on. Your mic is okay. Now go ahead.
You're coming through both. There you go.
Go ahead.
Can
I
you
got
hear
it.
me now?
Yep. Go ahead.
Very good.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, whether it's the Olympics or national sports, I feel like people in general feel the same way about athletes' political opinions as they do about actors or political opinions. Like, yes, you probably have them. No, I don't want to hear about them. Can you share them at inappropriate times, and can you maybe not get punished for it? Yes, but you're a douchebag, and people will probably hate you for it. Except for the people that love you, but they won't love you for what you're actually doing, whether it be acting or being an athlete. I think that rules like this in the Olympics exist for a reason, as we've said. And when it comes to things like the NFL or other national sports, yeah, you can share your opinions, but it's detracting from what you're doing, which is being an athlete and competing in a team sport. And that makes it so, yeah, you might be able to make a grand statement, but you're hollowing out the reason that people care about you in the first place. You're saying that what you do is less important than the politics that you believe, and no one likes those kind of people. So I guess you can, but please don't.
And where can they find you?
Oh, and as far as reach is, I spaced out for a second. Sorry. Yeah, you can see I'm very active on Twitter, rcatsgay, just like it sounds. And I am on BitChute with my partner Jupiter. You check out his channel, Jupiter, Jew Jupiter. And we have our Caget podcast, which gets released roughly every week, never exactly on the same day, but that's our fault.
All right. And y'all be sure to check them out. And last but not least, Trip.
What's up, Tree? This was lovely as always. Thank you for having me. This was fun and like very civil and nice. There were some spicy moments. I like them.
I like
But
that though.
as
I
far
was
as
like,
the Olympics, yeah. As far as the Olympics goes, making spicy Olympics though, I'm not sure if that's like the best idea for reasons we've already covered. My main things I'd want to even, I'd want to just focus on are where is the protest? Where is it allowed? in what venues? Is it on the field, off the field? Is it 2 days after the Olympics end? Is it the minute after the Olympics ends? What is it? As far as following rules, I pretty much agree with everybody here. Big ups to Jupiter, couldn't be here, so L'chaim.
I am.
And
Shalom.
as far as Archer goes, I'm gonna drink the rest of this in Archer's honor because he's probably at the bottom of a bottle right now. I'm gonna meet him there.
Lovely.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Tree, thanks for everything.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys. So thank you so much for coming, and wave goodbye to everybody. And listen, we do this every third Sunday of the month, okay? Every third Sunday of the month. So guys, I will see you next month, and I will send out messages, and we'll have Jupiter join us on the next one, okay? Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Yes, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah,
That
it
was. Let's see.
All right.
Yo,
Now,
Okay. All right, guys. So check this out. Woo, you can tell look at me, got my shea butter on. I got my shea butter. Look, I'm just glycerin because of my shea butter. Shea butter. Is that just what that shea butter be doing? Guys, thank you so much for coming by. Where's my chat at? I have not watched my chat at all. What's up, chat? It's delicious there. Thank you there, Johnny. Oh, let me see if anybody donated. If you guys made donations, I never checked them during the hold on. I never ever checked donations during the debate because I'm having to do stuff behind the scenes. And hold on, but I don't want to miss out anybody. Okay. Oh, Jupiter made a donation. Thank you, Jupiter. Jupiter made a donation of $5. And I thought somebody else made a donation too. I thought I saw it. Oh, here we go. Epstein's ghost. What a name. What a name. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming by. I am going to let me see where to chat. There we go. Hello from Etwall, UK. What up, Darren from Etwall, UK. Yeah, Epstein's ghost. That's what he said. I sent it via Discord, but Biden tweeted Zoom call with Afghan assets and doxed them. Sorry, I'm annoyed right now. Debate was lit. Oh, okay, Mark. I'm so sorry. You are so annoyed right now. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm about to go news diving now. I haven't, because I got to come up with a video. I haven't even been checking out what's going on in the news. I've been doing womanly duties. Like, I've been cleaning up my house. Oh, there's a lot of work. I'm not even finished. Like, my room is clean. The other room is clean, and the bathrooms are clean, and so now I just got to deal with the kitchen and the hallway, and so all of that is done. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and log off. This stays on, so tomorrow at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be having my regular show. Trip. Good time tonight. Gambit is sharp. He is sharp. I listen. I thought that was such a good. He's such a good distraction from people ganging up on Grimace. I don't know what my chat has a love-hate for Grimace. They love not liking Grimace, but they like Grimace. It's a little, I can't explain it because it was a lot. So many people was so mad about the ganging up on him, saying, but what makes it so crazy is that they talk so bad about him in the chat, but then they don't like nobody to. They don't want him to be dogpiled on. So there you go. Okay, Laura, see you later. So that was fun. And Trip, I love your commie hat. Okay. Let's see. Tree, one play in the NFL, got fined for wearing John 16 socks. Another wearing pink shoes for breast cancer. You should build a list next time Cap and the NFL comes out. That's a good point, Kermit. That's a good point. That's a good point. I will definitely do that. Unique Laura says, I like him as long as he doesn't talk. The chat is bipolar about Grimace. True. I mostly don't agree with Grimace, but it's good to know what the other side is thinking. Yeah, I love Grimace, just don't agree. The man has a backbone. He has to have a backbone to deal with what he's dealing with. And I guess I allow him to 'cause I'm gonna tell you something. Because we have so many spineless people, I have so much respect for people who have a backbone and don't run away from a fight and everything like that. So, and it was good to have somebody up there to take the heat, but also give some heat, in the process off of Grimace too. So there's that. But anyway, I gotta make some videos for tomorrow. Okay. So I got 2 videos, another Black Rifle Coffee Company video. Listen, the more these clowns keep talking, the more I gotta keep a video up on them, dude. I'm not gonna let them get away with stuff like that. So that's another video I'm not gonna get paid for. So I'm gonna have to come up with 2 videos for tomorrow plus a live stream. But anyway, this live stream will stay up. So if you want to watch it at your convenience, you can do so. Okay. I'm about to go news diving because I have no idea what's happening right now in the political sector right now. So thank you guys so much. I love you so much for supporting me. Thank you for coming to my streams and, actually participating and watching our debates. So tomorrow at 6:00 p.m., it should be at 6:00 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing the regular news. I look forward to seeing you that time. So you all take care. Mwah. Love you. Mean it. And I'll see you then. Later, taters. Okay. Bye.